like Darius's home country now. So we just had our event yesterday, and normally what happens is if Darius is in Lithuania, Penny takes over this call because obviously we don't want Darius waking up at 4 o'clock every morning. Penny, however, likes her sleep, and she actually is with us in Lithuania as well. So Penny organizes the call, so she's got me and Darius up while she's sleeping. Do you want to give her a call, Darius?
We should totally give her a call and get her on the call to share a takeaway.
We need you. The whole call's dropped. We don't know what's happening. We gotta get you to help.
We should totally do that. She would kill us both in the morning, I think.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, we have a full house today. Welcome everyone to the call. This is our call where we have most of our US members that are on. And so we actually have a number of new US members who will be joining us as well. We have got, at the moment, some new people who also have joined this call. So very big welcome to those who are new to the call. We have Mary and David, we have Yowen, and we have all of our existing members who are on the call as well. So it has been a super exciting month. Lots of things have been happening. Let me give you a bit of a overview for those who are brand new to the course, what we're up to and what we're going to be doing on here as well. I know we've still got a few of the kind of like intro course orientation that we're going to be doing as well. But as an overview, here we go. I'm going to just share, first of all, my screen. I'm going to share a couple of key things on here. First one is I'm going to be posting as we go through, as always, what are the biggest things we're going to be covering, and then we're going to cover them through on the call based on the things that show up on the highlights. On the highlights side, we have got lots of people that have been posting highlights, questions, key things are all on this table. So I think everyone has been posting on here right now as well, which is awesome. So thanks for doing that. We also have got where we're going to be posting, which at this point, because we're still making the transition to Genius U, we're still doing it here on the Facebook page. So all the different posts, what I'm going to be putting down and dropping down as we're going through the first half of this call, collecting all the information, I'm going to be doing on here as well. Here is our September course. I have made it a Burning Man theme, as you can see. So you can be posting anything extra that I forget to post down here as well. I'll try and get everyone's websites as we're going as well, so we can kind of see how everyone links together with each other. And let me kick it off with, first of all, just like, why I actually posted this this picture here and what's been going on out there at the moment as far as the kind of shift and growth in our waves that are taking place. So we just had our event on this weekend in London. So if that's relevant, I'll share more about it, but it definitely was a big highlight for the year because it was like a massive event. And at that event, I was sharing about transience, just talking about how once you realize you are very limited in time in a particular area, you make the most of that. So we talked about that when we were on our trip way back in August when we were going through Japan. And we talked about that, I think, on the last call a little bit, where we were going through this whole concept of ichigo uchi, treasure every minute meeting, for it will never occur again. This whole idea that if you just know you're only there for a limited period of time, like doing a tea ceremony, then you really, really treasure that moment. Like if you knew you were going to see one of your best friends for the last time in 10 years, you just treat that meeting differently. And so to actually be aware of that in all things that you do, it makes you think really, really differently about the things going on. So it really made me think as well, because we were talking about that in terms of also legacy. When we actually looking at the bonsai tree, and we had the ramen millionaire who was saying, I have an obligation to this tree because of the generations before me and the generations after that look after this tree. Because these bonsai trees, last for like 1,000 years. So it's like a massive amount of time, of which we're just a fraction. The more we think with the telescope, we're going to put this down here for a moment. The more we think with the telescope, which is thinking in terms of, the big picture, and the more we think with the microscope, which is thinking with the small picture, the more everything shifts in the way that we actually start thinking about things. And so what was really interesting is the experience of being a Burning Man, which we just came back from, was exactly that at both scales, because you're there like in the middle of the desert, you're with people that you may never ever see again. Everyone shows up for like 7 days, 70,000 people, and then they all disappear again. Beautiful art people have been working at all year round basically gets shown and then gets burnt. It just gets like, so this whole idea of transience, which is like, wow, this is a once in a lifetime experience we're having with people that we may be meeting for the only time. And so there's this incredible bond that happens with everyone. And that kind of like clarity of the fact that we're in something which is actually much, much bigger, and we just have to be kind of like ready to make the most of it when it happens. That then has led very, very, very clearly to a number of things. This year, when I came back, I saw this article. Amazon just became the second company to reach $1 trillion. And the first one happened earlier in August, right? That was Apple as well. So 2 companies in 1 month since our last phone call have now become worth over $1 trillion. So something massive is happening in terms of this really big growth that's taken place. Jeff Bezos this year has gone from 100 billion. Let's see what he's at now. Jeff Bezos. Like he was worth about 80 billion this time last year. And we just see, wow, is my internet really messed up? Okay, and when he's at 159 billion dollars. So his wealth has been going up, as it says here, by $260 million per day. I mean, imagine that, like every single day you run by $260 million. So he's actually generated more wealth within like 1 year from 80 to 160 than Bill Gates has in total, right? It's just phenomenal. But it doesn't mean it's all going to last, right? So this here is an article that came out just yesterday. There's no way to avoid the next financial crisis. The 3 people that actually were in charge of the last one, which happened exactly 10 years ago, September 12th was kind of like the D-Day for the financial crisis, the global financial crisis. They did an op-ed in the New York Times yesterday about basically how we're just so not prepared for the next one coming. And the next one coming is just around the corner, right? I'm going to drop this article in a second. And I don't want to be like doomsday person, but if you actually plan your business, like we're planning our business next year on the basis that the crisis will hit. So what does that look like? It looks like a company where we're really focusing much more at really making sure we're looking after our best clients because they don't go away in a crisis. We're really making sure that we're really cash flow positive and we're keeping costs low. We don't want to be caught by surprise when there's no reason to be. This is Ray Dalio, his book, I've been recommending, which is called Principles. Says here, the next financial crisis will be more severe socially and politically. And this was an interview that he did just yesterday, where he basically says it's going to happen within the next 2 years. And he's been right every single time beforehand. So just from that point of view of like what happens when all your customers just disappear or everyone starts to struggle, or how are you going to support and help them through it to be ahead of the game on the whole thing means that you're always going to be in a position to where I was just working with a number of people who are big investors in the stock market. They've taken all their money out of the stock market, right? Like all of it, and I've done the same, right? So don't be in a situation where you have anyone tell you later, I told you so, because just be really aware this is happening right now, right? And it all basically links in to say, well, how would you design things if in the short term, things go really wrong, and if in the long term, things are going to go really right, then what would things look different in the way you design things, right? And it's just really, really, really important for us to keep on getting that perspective as we kind of walk through this as well. So that is my little kind of, and of course there's a bit of a parallel because there's that massive storm coming into the East Coast of America where same thing, everyone's like, just be prepared, right? Because if you're prepared, then every storm at some point or other, you're still going to be able to weather it. But if you actually don't even think about it, or if you actually do something reckless, then you really only have yourself to blame as well, right? So with all that being shared, cheery news, let's kick off with everyone's updates. What I'm going to do is just give everyone a quick overview on what they've actually written down here, biggest questions, and any other questions that I might have that I will share with them as well. We're going to start with Jason. We've got Jason here. Highlight is I've been laid off from my job. Yay. This has given me a lot extra time to focus on the consulting business, allowing me to network without distractions. It's also allowed several doors to open to opportunities that were not there previously. I've reached out to all my tech contacts. We're looking at how I could become a subcontractor, and we're still in negotiation with several of them. And then also, I had a long conversation with my doctor friend. So we talked about this on the last call about the fact that, he had actually ended up not, deciding to work with Jason. And we were like, well, why is that? Because if you don't learn why that is, you can never move forward. He says here what happened and why he turned down my second proposal. He said that he was already getting that service from the other company and that I wasn't providing any other benefit that he wasn't already getting. This company is excelling right now. In that conversation, he asked why I hadn't cashed the check he sent. And you said he never received it. I never received it. On Tuesday, I will have a conversation with a startup hydroponic company about joining their board of directors. Okay. So my first question is a very obvious one, Jason, which is, have you received the check now?
No. I texted him again today to go, did you send it? Because it was late last week when we actually was able to connect.
Sure.
And so I'm not sure. I have not received a response back from him yet. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe.
So anyway, so maybe it's coming through. Yeah.
No, it was from somebody else. Sorry.
Okay. So how did you feel just having that conversation with him
Okay.
first?
So one, it was amazing conversation, and thank you for pushing me to do that. Right.
Okay.
It cleared up a lot. I realized in that conversation how much I was embarrassed that I wasn't able to provide the value, wasn't able to help like I would, support him like I wanted to. I felt prior to this, I felt like that it was pointless. Why am I even trying? Why keep moving forward? Very discouraged. And after that conversation, because I told him as like I've been really exploring shutting down the whole idea, and he's absolutely don't do that. I mean, he was emphatic about not doing that. So I was providing. He sees that I could be providing value, but like I said, he was already getting extreme value from this other company that he was working with.
Got it. Well, look, and that's why it's so important to have the conversations, because otherwise it just eats away at you, where it's like, I don't know why he said no. I don't know. And then you have a fear of rejection. The moment you face rejection in the face, the moment that when somebody basically says, well, no, not right now. And you say, well, why is that? And where are you getting value instead? And you're doing it because you're really looking to earnestly learn. The awesome thing about that, it means you never fear rejection again. In fact, you welcome it, because every time any rejection happens, it's your opportunity for learning, right? So it's really, really good you did that. And you realize there's nothing to fear. In fact, you learn more by having that conversation afterwards anyway, right? Which is awesome. Yeah. Okay, good. And the fact he's going to be paying something is also really good too, right? So I guess you haven't put any particular questions down at the moment. So I'm guessing at this point you're just all steam ahead.
I am. I'm taking everything that we've talked about through this past year and starting to apply them. And now that I have free time, I am able to actually get into these networking groups during the middle of the day and actually share what I'm up to, and getting really great response back about what I'm doing.
Right. Okay, so one thing I'm going to recommend is that after we had our Lake Tahoe event, which was phenomenal, we just had like all these new city leaders, including some in Texas. I definitely highly recommend you connect back with the team that's actually driving all of that forward, because we're going to be doing, I'm sure, a lot of things in the US, and there's definitely going to be connections and opportunities for you and all of that as well once you see what everyone's up to and what they're planning on. I've got a big event. I think I've got a big tour coming in January, February, and there's no reason you couldn't be a part of that and generating cash flow as well,
Okay.
All right. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you, Jason. We're going to come over next. Let's just check if we have Gabriel online. Yes, we do. Okay, so Gabriel here. Highlight 30 attendees of the first Entrepreneur Social in Mexico City. Congratulations. That's awesome. And I finished up my certification on Team Coach. Started on October, the first test with Talent Dynamics and team coaching tools. And I have a Chilean client that is interested in becoming a flow consultant with his consultant firm, which is really good. Chile, that would be so awesome. Big questions. Number one, what is the best strategy or agreement to do with a star profile to get the job done on sales? Number two, how can I leverage more my supporter profile to keep my project moving, because we are having different perspectives about the stage the business is having? I say 3, the star profile says 1.5, the creator says 3. And number 3, what is the question that I'm not asking myself that will allow me to increase my flow of money? So Gabriel, let's talk specifically about the first question, star. Who is that specifically that you are trying to figure out how to work best with at the moment? Hello there. Gabriel, hear us? Gabriel, I think you're on mute at the moment.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Hey.
The thing is, this project is run by 3 Rames that was with me in Valley, and Julio that it's the star, and he's more of the face of the program, and in the last 2 months he haven't delivered on the promise of bringing clients to the programs that we have been running.
Is he the promoter then?
Yeah, he's an associate, and his role was to be promoter also.
Okay, and you're finding he's not doing the job, and does he think he is doing the job?
Well, the results has been saying that he has not been doing the job, because I have been bringing more clients than he has done.
Yes.
So, and yeah, that's the thing. And he was selling to new product, to new big projects to companies, but that takes more time, and well, it's like having an adjustment to that. We have having conversations to put more KPIs or just keep a better agreement or something. But
so I just have a quick question: is to what extent do you know can he even do the job? Has he ever done it before, where he's actually done a really good job filling up like your program?
Yeah. He has the first two that we did. He filled it up, and in the middle, he created 2 projects with organizations. And he's a guy with a lot of contacts. That's
okay. My last question is, what's his view as to why he hasn't hit the numbers?
He says that he was that he was having trouble like focusing, or he jumps. He describes sometimes himself like a little puppy that he goes running.
So he's saying it's his own performance is not because. Okay, I got it. Okay, all right, I got that, Gabriel. I'm going to be able to answer exactly what to do with the star. We've had much experience with that.
Okay, perfect.
Fabulous. All right, okay, great. So let's continue on now. We are going to next come, and I'll be opening everyone's website so we get on this as well, right? So we get a catch up for everyone. We have Kimberly Marie. Marie saying launch Magical Land of Awesome podcast, which is awesome that that's happening. And there's actually a submission about the podcast. So questions: what is the best thing to do to build trust and increase value of what I'm offering to new followers of the podcast and take it to the next level? Number 2, what are some ideas for the tier level for launching the podcast on Patreon? Number 3, what shall I, as an EI investor, prepare in light of what you shared about the upcoming crisis? Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay. And also taking my business for the long haul. Okay, it's hilarious. Okay, so well, first of all, Marie, why don't you, 2 things. First of all, are you on track at the moment with the launch of the book? Is that still kind of scheduled for beginning of this next year?
Yes, it's early next year, and everything's on track. We are looking for 5 more authors. And so right now the chapters are being written, and promotion plans are being put in place. And Mel's podcast is their first launch.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So good. All right. So you got that. And how did that go, by the way, the experience of actually just launching the podcast for you?
Well, it was so, I took this course about doing it putting ideas to iTunes in one weekend.
Yes.
And wow, I mean, literally this woman is so committed to having everyone launch in one weekend. And it was amazing to see her work. And I did it. And the I did it factor is huge, because I know,
yeah.
I mean, I was working with Jason a year ago talking about this. So so this is pretty cool.
Good. Very awesome. That's very, very cool you did that. All right. Okay. So let's get onto the kind of meat of it, given that you're on schedule and you're actioning things, which is awesome. If you were to walk us through the key steps for someone coming on board in terms of getting the podcast, which I'm guessing is like free of charge. And then after that, what the next step is of what you're asking them to do. What do you have at the moment as the next step?
Well, I have a promotion plan as one of my submissions. And so if you look on the submissions.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to chat about is, of course, what I'm leading them to these first podcasts is a debrief. So whether they can do the Genius Test for free, do the $97, or do a debrief with me. Then the promotion plan goes into what is the next level of, doing a full-on promotion plan, taking it on it's a 3-month window that I'm taking them to the next step.
The next step being what?
The next step after the debrief, if they make that decision to do that.
What is the next step when you say it's the next step?
What is the next step past the debrief, or?
After the debrief, you said there's so the debrief is the second step, and you say then it's the next step. What is that third step? What are you asking?
It's working with me for 3 months for a quarter, and doing a promotion plan, and whatever levels of whether they want more accountability or just to put the promotion plan in place.
The promotion plan to do what?
Whatever they're doing in their life. So after the debrief is to have an action plan.
So similar to what Michelle runs with her Business Accelerator,
right.
where she helps people do that?
That is correct.
Okay. And what's the reason you're deciding that that's your main product?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just wondering. You're offering something that others are offering in a more unique and specific way. So I'm just wondering why you decided that's the thing that you see as being the main thing.
I think it's because I've been doing the promotion plans with all of the authors, and maybe it's a little bit selfish. I'm having a blast. So
no, I get that. But look, you just had someone you just went through that taught you exactly how to do a podcast because they were solving a specific issue for you, which is doing a podcast, right? Yeah. So is there any reason you wouldn't do a specific, thing to show people how to become a published author in exactly the same way? Because that's what you're doing for people anyway. I'm just asking, is there always a reason you're trying to make it very general? Because if that woman doing the podcast came and said, I'll help you do everything, you wouldn't actually have hired her because you would have said, well, I don't actually want everything. I just want the podcast. But because you were like, I just want to do everything. So you're back to let's boil the ocean and let's try and help everyone to do everything. When in fact, that's not what she did. And you found her and you went for it because you just wanted to make sure you had a podcast, right? I
see what you're saying, Raja. I see.
It's just getting really specific why you're doing what you're doing. If you don't have a reason, you're just doing it, then I'm saying you have to get more specific. And it's the same for everyone else on the call as well. What's the one problem you're solving? Because it can't just be, I'm just going to make everyone just get stuff done, because that's just way too general. Because if someone came to you and said, I'll just help you get stuff done. You want to get a podcast? I'll help you do a podcast. Do you have any actual proof you can do a podcast? It's like, well, no, but it doesn't matter. I can still help you. You wouldn't have taken her on. Right. What's the name of the person? And there's a website of their podcast, so I can show people an example of what it is to just get specific on something.
It's called Podcast on Purpose.
Specific to you, it caught out to you. You're like, well, I have to work with these people. It directly solves my problem. Is it Debbie Adia? Is that the person?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's the thing, right? So, but anyway, you can think about it as we go through it, but you get why I'm asking the question, right?
I totally get it. So someone had mentioned, Kimberly had mentioned about the 3 steps you took me through during Masters because I had the brackets around awe and those.
Yes.
Yeah. About telling their story. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you've got all the skill sets, but it's about how you then package what you're doing at early days. I can do something more generic, like, hey, everyone, you learn about global business, but that's only because when you're a level 6, level 7 business, then you can actually be much wider in what you do, because at that point, everyone's already seen value in it, right? And there's already trust. Whereas to begin with, you have to still be solving a very specific problem in a very specific way, But in any event, I've got the info here. I've got it open. I'm going to show people what it looks like as well. And then we'll kind of lead that through as we go through in terms of what the key actions are for you to grow forward. Because of that as well, right? Okay, but congrats on getting it out. That's super awesome, because it means that you're really taking action on it now, which is really good. And very much the same thing as Jason. And so much of this is confidence, right? The moment you take the steps, you see the results, hey, look, it's actually working now. And because it's a podcast, it doesn't matter even if not too many people are listening to the first or second or third one, because every time it builds on itself. And then as people see there's 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then more and more people will start actually going for it. And it's about you getting much clearer about how you're then letting people know about the podcast, and how you're getting the person who's on it to also feel really awesome about going out and sharing to their people that you've got it as well. All those kind of things as well, right? Okay, so we'll come back to Marie, which is fab. We missed you in Lake Tahoe. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to make a note of this, right? So what's the best way to build trust, increase value? What I'm offering to the people on the podcast, which is all about that, right? So let me just put that down. The second thing is we've got here ideas for tier levels, which is what we were just talking about, and the investor side. Okay, investor functions. Okay, awesome. Let's come next to Julianne. We've got here highlight rebranding to Last Source Boutique Accounting. Wow, cool. You got your new brand name. Hired a bilingual accountant to work with clients in Quebec, and talking to a US CPA firm about partnering. So big questions. Number one of our key values in rebranding strategy is simplicity. What's the best way to send out that message without giving off the perception that we are simple and the work we do is simple? Considering a partnership with a US CPA firm, first time doing a contract across the border, what is the best way to structure a cross-border agreement, which is also great. So first of all, awesome that you've taken the action, because we were talking about this in terms of branding. My first question is, did you end up going with the brand consultant? Are they the guys that came up with the name, or where did the name come from?
The name came from doing work with the brand consultant. Like she really gets me, and she gives a really amazing workshop that I went through. Yeah. So we came up with my values. We came up with position statements, one key idea. So yeah, and because I'm French Canadian, but I don't speak much French, and Quebec has a different tax system. It's like, well, yeah, let's do la source, you know. So that's kind of a bit sophisticated, and the name was available, and, you know, it might be attractive in Quebec. And then if I can translate the, you know, and the Quebec tax system, in my opinion, is really complex. So getting the Quebec accountant on is great. Yeah. Some more clients there.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Awesome. And at the moment, do you have any kind of launch plan around the brand, or you're just going to kind of
Yes, it's going to be November, because she's taken me through it quite slowly, which is fine with me, because this summer I was away a lot, and just giving me time to think and let it sit, you know, the name and the values and my position, and then, you know, photos and everything, and blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And just with that, the partnership you talk about, like, what is it, like a marketing partnership, or
no, what it's going to be is I already have 2 US clients, but all we do is bookkeeping and accounting for them, because I don't have anyone who knows how to do US tax, right? So if I can get on board with like a firm just across the border, then, you know, because I'm close to the border, like, you know, half-hour drive. So then there's a lot of, like, it's a huge metropolitan area. So, and there's a lot of people who go back and forth like all the time. And there's a lot of businesses, people live on both sides. If I could somehow, you know, get the US firm to offer US tax on my side, and then I offer Canadian on their side, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of people here who, they're on the border, across the border every day, right?
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Okay. Got it. All right. I will answer those questions, but again, really, really great that you've taken action on all of that, and that's all now rolling out, which is really cool. Okay. I'm loving this call. There's like so much actions that are taking place, which means we're taking the next step in all of your companies as we're going forward as well, which is really, really cool. Let's come over next to, I'm carrying on in the same order. We'll have a different order each time, but we're now coming to Robin, and we're just doing a double check. We've got Robin here. Yes. So we got, first of all, highlight, settled a pending fraud lawsuit on the steps of the High Court against my partner and I, originating from the failure of our restaurant business in June 2017. Good to put that behind you. I have attempted job offer from my friend Vera, looking after an organic garden at an international school, something I would love doing, back to nature for me. The remuneration isn't significant. It keeps me busy and gives me my time to plan my future activities as an entrepreneur. And then we've got here also big questions. Number one, what particular steps, practical steps can I take to improve my value proposition? And also, I'm facing huge CC bank debts without a sustainable income horizon. So we heard what happened last time about the end of the whole crypto income coming in. What are the steps can I take to get myself out of this mess? And I just want to mention a bit on the challenge. So I think it's a link into it as well. As a result of settlement of the lawsuit, I have to sell off a property to raise 300,000. In addition, my crypto investment imploded, so zero income from that. I've been told I have to redefine my value package I can offer potential partners, and I've asked Jason to write a professional bio so I can better understand how to position myself. Quite frankly, been trading water for the last year. Well, you were actually getting positive cash flow, so I think it's really more recently that's what happened. And again, you know, you've heard just, you know, a moment ago where Jason is at. So much of this is about really getting directed to the people where you can actually deliver the most value. And I know you are starting to go down that pathway of actually, you know, generating value through running events. We just came with Lena, where we just ran an event with Lena. You know, she just yesterday made like over $40,000 in her pocket just for one day's work, right? So it isn't like if you work with the right people, you can't actually generate significant income for yourself. It's really a matter of you deciding who's the person you want to work with. So that's going to be my big question, Robin. And it's the same question I had for Jason when he came back and said, well, the person that I was going to be working with, my number one customer to get to level one company, didn't work out. I'm like, well, then you got to find someone else, but you can't just not do it, because the only way you actually can get back in the cash flow is fundamentally getting someone to be paying you money for delivering value to them. So my question to you is, it's originally you were going to be doing that, with the whole accelerator program. Then on the last call, it's like, right, I'm going to do that with like Entrepreneurs Institute, which always works because we're here to support you to do that. Have you gone away from the idea, and do you have anyone else? Because it doesn't sound like this international school is really paying you much money right now, right? Hey, Robin.
Oh, hi, morning. Early morning for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm still very much on track for the working with the Entrepreneur Institute.
Right.
Just I need to look at some immediate cash flow situations. Also, for me, I need to keep myself occupied. So that's why basically I've accepted the offer from Vera to do this work for me. It's only part-time. I mean, it's a couple of hours a day or something like that.
Okay.
But it does also put me in contact with the school, the teachers, the parents, of course, the students as well. And also he's talking about, or he has contracts with other restaurants to do the same thing, to create organic gardens for their produce. So this is something which actually I enjoy doing. But it doesn't dilute what I'm trying to do for the EI. That I'm still very much on track for that.
When you say you're very much on track, do you actually have a cash promotion plan that you put together where you can see what money you're going to make over the next 3 months?
No, not yet. No.
So until you got that to actually say, here's actually how I'm going to make the money, you're just going to be in activity and just being busy doing things. And in 3 months' time, when you look back and say, I didn't make any money, then anyone can look at you and say, well, where's the plan to make money? And so I didn't have a plan. So until you have, it's one thing to say I'm on track. On track means you've got a plan. So I don't think you are on track at the moment, because until you got that plan. Now, by the way, I know you know this. So I guess my bigger question is, is there a reason that you hadn't put the plan together yet?
I think it was the traumatic experience, over the past couple of weeks.
Fair enough.
Which has kind of deflated me.
Sure.
Although there is a settlement, and I mean, I wasn't guilty of fraud, but we had to settle it because we didn't have the money to continue to fight it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to recover from that. Plus, of course, my crypto thing. So I'm in a negative cash flow situation at the moment.
Yes.
So I'm back to infrared minus.
Yes.
So it's a psychological thing, really. I mean,
I got it.
I've kind of lost confidence, and I really need what I need to do is to get. Jason went off, of course, to the UK.
Yeah.
We were talk last Friday. I need to vamp up my bio, my value proposition, and really get back to work. I mean, that's really the heart of it. I mean,
got it. Okay, got it. All right, Robin, I'm going to come back to you and just share with you my thoughts around that as we go forward. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yep. The universe has got this way where it says if we're not actually going to be, really making the most of it, it's going to take back the parts. I mean, that's what the universe does. And so there's an element of what Robin's going through right now. I mean, we heard how we got to go back and face our demons, right? That's what I was saying to Jason. That's what Jason did on the last call. And then you go, that's where the learning is. And so, so the real big question for Robin is what's the learning in all of this right now? And I mean, the good thing about these courses is they're recorded, right? So you can go back to them. So you can go back to the call where I was saying to Robin way back in February time when he was like, wow, I'm getting all this money from crypto. It's do not depend on that money. Have a plan for the fact that money could stop tomorrow. And there was no plan. And so the money did stop. And when the money stopped, then it's holy cow, now I'm in infrared. And then when you're in infrared, you're in the worst place to do it. This is on a smaller scale, on a personal scale, exactly what I'm saying about be prepared for the crisis coming, because if you're not, you hear it, it's yeah, I heard it, didn't do anything about it. Then it happens wow, now I'm in a mess of my business. It's all avoidable, right? I mean, it's all avoidable, just like a surfer seeing a massive wave that's going to hit him. He can duck the wave, he can get under the wave, but if he doesn't do that and the wave takes him out, he's only got himself to blame, because it's well, it wasn't you couldn't see the wave, you just didn't do something when it was there. So many of us are just not just anticipating where we're at, and I'm going to write that word down, so I think it's a super duper important one. Anticipation is at the core of WINK. The word is waiting, anticipating. What does the word actually mean? And I'm going to come back to that, because I think it's like so super important for each of us to have that sense of anticipation in terms of where things are about to go, because that's where confidence comes from. Like, if you know things are going to get better, then you get confidence straight away. But if you don't know that, because you're not anticipating what's going to happen next, because you don't know what the pattern of the story is, then constantly you're going to be basically worried. And then what that does is delay the next phase of the story, basically. Bad stuff does not delay. Good stuff delays. So if you're waiting around, all the bad stuff comes and no good stuff comes. The moment you actually start planning out, then all of the good stuff starts to exceed the bad stuff, right? It's just the reality of it. But anyway, I'm going to come back to Ron, because I think it's a really important thing for everyone as we go forward. We have got here next, I've got Razke here saying, highlight, travel to Sri Lanka, India, Nepal to shoot the videos and photos for our October launch of Papa's Toys YouTube channel, Instagram and Facebook. I've talked to a number of key customers about this, and everyone seems very excited by what we're doing, supporting our brand and social media. So you'll remember we talked about this for Rensky, is like actually creating this kind of platform for all these awesome toys. So the fact you're taking all this action, doing this is brilliant, which is really great. And no questions this month, as you say. So Rensky, I'm just going to ask you just that experience of going out and making it real and doing those videos and getting started. How's that making you feel about the whole project right now? Oh, and you're on mute at the moment as well.
Hi.
Oh, there you go. Hello. Hi.
Good morning. Hi. I'm in Nepal at the moment. I actually thought I was going to miss this traveling back to Melbourne, but I've got a couple of hours before I have to go to the airport, so it was good timing, actually. It's really great. I mean, I've done lots of photos, lots of videos, and there's going to be some editing to be done, whatever. What surprised me actually the most was the reaction of the people that I've talked to, my key customers, how enthusiastic they were about this. I guess I have a little bit of a devious underlying reason to do this, which maybe they are not fully aware of. For the other business that I'm working on, the platform that you mentioned, which is not just for my business, but to create a bigger business. So I'm building community, I guess, and I hope this new crisis you're talking about is not going to cut it down at the knees. It's a bit worrisome to hear that, actually. But so I'm just connecting with people on Instagram and Facebook. It's amazing how many people are actually posting images of our products, which I really didn't know about before. So I've kind of woken up to that whole social media thing, which it's not a job, but it's really important and needs to be done. So it's good. Yeah,
that's
good.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Fabulous. Okay, fantastic. Well, I know you don't have any questions right now, but I think it's going to be a lot of relevant things from this call anyway. So we'll come back to you, but that's brilliant. Thank you, Renske. All right, let's come over to Danette, who was at our Lake Tahoe event. So I'd love for you to share in a second around that. Highlight, number one, I've reached out to 3 people to have conversations about, after hearing your coaching to Jason last month about his friend not moving forward. Big win was a call. A secondary win was one appointment set up for one to have a conversation tomorrow, which is awesome. Number 2, took my current clients, the ones who reduced their work with me in July, from 2K per month to 11K per month. Win, 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 capitals, absolutely. And number 3, aha, with Danny about what I would love and not love to do as mechanic, simplified and put more sexy into mechanic. And number 4, breakthroughs on building my financial plumbing system. So lots of progress over the last month. We've got here big questions. Number 1, the concept of finding flow and serving there. What's the best way for me to join the EI Genius U flow? What are the steps, process, and order for serving the Genius UI community? And then number 2, give me the different types of websites, communication, credibility, and conversion, which we talk about in the last call. Where does the lead magnet or offering offer sit? And number 3, the increased work should take me through October, November, 1st of December. Aside from delivering awesome service to my current clients, I want to plan, promote for consistent income, which is a good thing to do. I've got some paid lead generation work planned with selling Wealth Dynamics standardized tests, debriefs, workshops, all in beginning state, including workshop in October and 1 November. And other than doing all of that work, what should I focus on to get more consistent income coming November, December, January? Or do I wait and see what comes? Okay, so great questions here. Awesome. So no questions on the questions. I think that's really straightforward. I am going to ask you, Danette, first of all, just to share the experience of coming down to Lake Tahoe and spending time with us down there, first of all?
Well, it was fabulous. In fact, I think it was just, I don't know what happened that weekend, but I think transformational for me in a lot of ways. The energy was, I think, really high, and I think it was like I was going to kindergarten and I didn't really know where the bathroom was and where things were. So I really feel like I like not a redo, but I'm looking forward to the next one, because I think I could show up in a different way, especially after some of these hard conversations and wins, in a whole different confident way.
Yeah.
So I think I personally need a little bit more clarity. I'm talking to Jess and Danny a little bit about what I can do and should do. And, you know, like I said, I just feel like I'm a little bit like a kindergartner, and I'm not sure how school works yet. So, but I am looking forward to doing more, and, you know, hopefully hosting you with some partners that might be on this call. So I am really looking forward to it. And I don't know how all the, you know, what the success rate was, how many people signed up and all of that in terms of the global big event. But
just to let you know, and I think in terms of like event strategy, because there's a few others on the call, including Gabriel, Marie, and so on, who do, and Robin will be, in terms of running events. So I'm going to share some of the things we've learned around event strategy, but I can tell you this: we normally have an average per head of about $1,000 to $1,500 that people spend when they come for like an event like Entrepreneur Fast Track. We hit 3,400 per head in Lake Tahoe. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was actually our record, one-day event we ran of this new format, where we basically like talk for just half a day, and then we just do some extra sessions. And we hit like, I think 230,000 or something off the back of it, which was because it was a small number of people, right? It was about 60 people, and we think, well, there's not a lot of people coming, but most of them flew in from elsewhere, and they're so super qualified that they were the right people. So yeah, from that point of view, the results were awesome. Just to give you an idea of that, and it means that you could be signing something up also, which doesn't need to have a lot of people in it, but if they are, the right type of people, it can make a huge difference. And so something like Rose can make like 50 grand out of like a day like that. And it's it's definitely a model that works really well right now.
Great.
I've got another question for you, which is, tell us about that whole thing about shifting your client from 2,000 to 11,000, right? Because I think that's the kind of lesson here, which is so valuable for everyone on the call, right?
Yeah, sure. So I thought about the conversation, the coaching that you had with Jason, and I thought, wow, I don't want this to go from 2K to 0K. So what am I not doing? And I got really, really into their space and thought, what would I want to know right now? And I synthesized a lot of information about consulting, and basically I had like a pivot meeting with them, and it was the right timing too, and kind of drew a line in the sand. I went back and said, here's what I said I would do, here's what I did, which I haven't done in the past very well. Here's what I said I would do, here's what I did, here's what we did, here's what we did. And then I said, so now I want some reflection and feedback. And so I was getting ready for the critical stuff about what I did or didn't do, and all that BS I made up in my mind over the time. And all the feedback they had was about themselves. So, but it was gold. It was gold, because I took whatever they said and then I turned it and said, okay, now if we're going to pivot and go forward, and I build this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for you, how do you see yourself using it? And I just took them into the place, not in a meditation, but kind of like, where they would use it. And they just kept talking about it and talking about it. And I said, what else would you do? And I let them just stay in the luxury, I don't know what the word to use of that. And then I said, so how fast do you want to go? And they both said, I want it done now. And so it was so cool. Win-win-win. Plus, I realized in the scope of that and some conversations with some of the Crystal Circle and Danny was like, these people came to me and asked me to do their marketing for them, and I wasn't really in marketing business, and I'm a mechanic and I love what I'm doing. And so I think I'm actually in the marketing. It's like, I finally owned it. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. I have 2 clients that are paying me, and this is what I'm doing. So that was a show up factor too, if that makes sense. So, I asked them how fast they want to go, and they said, let's go. And one is doing some creative financing for it, because it's so important to him. And now we're going. And now we're making things happen. Yes.
That is so cool. Yeah. That's exactly the way to do it, right? I mean, that is 100% the way to do it, where it's all about them and it's not about you. And that's the result that comes out of doing it that way as well, right? And when you do it right. So I know this, I mean, it's so super valuable to share that story. So thanks very much, Danette. Big congratulations. And we will come back to you with your questions in a bit as well.
I was also willing to, walk away. I mean, there was nothing bad that could happen. So
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how to say.
Which would totally change your energy. If you had gone into that call, if you had gone into that meeting saying, I need more business, even if you didn't say it, if they felt it, then they would have been on the back foot the whole time. But the way you did it, which was 100% about value, here's the value I delivered to you. Let's talk about that and what actually is the next step forward for you, or what feedback do you want to give me? You're always going to get exactly what you said, right? Because people are like, she cares about my problem more than I do, right? She's more qualified than I am to solve my own problem. This person is not a problem creator. This person is a problem solver, right? I'm not going to just offload on her now because she can solve my other problems as well, right? People always looking for people to solve their problem. I'm exactly the same. If I see anyone who's like so focused at solving my problems and not solving them, I'd be like, hey, here's another one, right? Straight away. It's like, so the fact that you've got that energy, and when you come into it where there's nothing to lose, there's no fear of failure, you're there to learn. That's the energy you need to have. And I'm saying this because I know some of you are at that point where you're still looking to get that like first customer, and it's your own energy. It's not the strategy. It's not the plan. It's when you show up, how you're showing up, and the way you're showing up in a way that you're at zero. There's nothing to lose. There's nowhere to go. It's basically just infinite possibility, and you're focusing at that. And that's why I keep on talking about the power of zero, because it's about it's not more than a mindset. It's a spirit set. It's your entire body and spirit is coming from that space, right? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Danette, for sharing that. That's really cool. And I am going to continue on our journey here. We are going to come over next. We're just going to go to our final few people, and then we're going to jump into this with all of the key aspects. There is a pattern showing up, which is a very interesting pattern. It's a new pattern that we have not seen here on this call before. So I will share what that is in a moment. Next, we are going to come to Jason. We have Jason and Tanya on here. We had Jason recently in London, which is really awesome. So I'm going to come back to that as well. So we have got here, first of all, the highlight. Number one, traveling to London for the Global Entrepreneur Summit, meeting other CC members, collecting solid leads for potential clients and partners. And number two, pivoted and ran a successful spontaneous promotion to keep myself from falling into foundation. And the big question is, number one, my instinct tells me this situation is an opportunity to level up, learn how to recuperate cash flow by way of some kind of investment strategy that is incentivize people to put money into my business to exchange for something. To do that, I've invited two wealthy investors into the micro mastermind, though not really knowing what I'd offer them. What are some models to package together investments for a level 2 business, which doesn't necessarily include equity? And then number two, best advice for dealing with a family or personal crisis during a promotion in a level 2 business, one without a stable operating team. And number three, for the first time, I feel like I've been in different levels in 1 month: emerging green level business, yellow level promotions, more humble red level hustle, best advice for managing one's energy when pivoting quickly as a creator. And the challenge, family emergency. Oldest son got in trouble in Cambodia. Start of the micro mastermind is delayed by 2 weeks. Pushed the estimated upsell cash flow in October. Pivoted quickly, generated adult cash flow. Now have less time. So before I even ask about London, is everything worked out with your son? Is that okay now? Hey, Jason. Oh, you're on mute there, so yeah.
Yes, it's stabilized. It was actually a hostage situation. I won't go too much in detail, but the severity of it was pretty. It just derailed everything. Yes. So yeah. So the family crisis is taken care of. Everything is stabilized. But of course it affected business. But he's safe. He's fine. Good. I'll fly to see him this weekend, but
okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yep. Good. Okay, good. Fabulous. All right. So I hope that all works itself out, and I'll answer your question about that as well. In the meantime, do tell us, what was your experience of being in London and getting connected to everyone there?
Well, first, my experience with being in London was surprising. It was in the midst of this sort of family crisis and different things happening and pivoting. All of a sudden, I got 3 different emails from clients of mine in the UK. We're like, oh, hey, I've got extra platinum tickets. You should come join. Now, I already have platinum tickets, but they're like, oh, cool, right? And I just sort of like brushed it off. And then they're like, no, you should really come. It's a really good event. I'm like, cool. Well, my program's delayed. Cash flow is a bit tight, so how am I going to go to London? So I took it as an opportunity to have different kinds of conversations and then just talk to some of my clients in the UK. And then they're like, hey, we'll fly you over. We'll fly you here, we'll set you up, and just give me some one-on-one time while you're in London. So that's how I arrived there. And so all I had to do was hop on a plane and then like sit down with some clients for a couple hours, and it was all paid for. So that was really cool. So spontaneous is awesome. I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be a global entrepreneur. Like I'm doing Paul Dunn stuff now.
That's so great. That's really great.
and I followed him back here to Bali too. I was like right behind him the whole way. I was like stalking him. But the event itself, Roger, was.
And by the way,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. We had a gap. Go ahead.
Yeah, the event itself was just transformative, and I didn't go there with any expectations. But what happened was that I saw everybody in iLab that I've ever mentored before, like 20 hugs coming from all different directions. So I was just receiving the whole time, just lots of appreciation and gratitude, and on the back end of that, just some more business kind of fell in my lap. So which is really
fantastic.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second, because you're asking a very similar question to Danette around how to make sure you've got consistent cash flow, and you heard her response in terms of what she did, and you did something very, very similar, right? You showed up, right? Like Woody Allen says, 80% of success is showing up, and I'm like so many of us are so busy in our stuff where we're at, then wondering where the business is, right? And the moment we get in front of a customer, which is what happens when you come to an event like London. Then all these opportunities show up, and the more you're really interested in what people's challenges are, the more you can find ways to solve those challenges as well. You've got obviously, your own like service that you're already providing people as well. What would you say is the biggest reason from a cash position that there's cash flow position challenges? Do you think it's because you're just not bringing in enough new customers, or do you think it's because you haven't actually refined or clarified your product range clearly enough at the moment?
Can you ask the question one more time?
Okay, well, let me do it this way. What at the moment is the main thing that you're actually, what have you planned? Like when you heard me say to Robin, do you have a plan? And he didn't have a plan, which is why he's not making the money. Do you actually have a plan at the moment of how many customers you're looking for and what you want them to be buying from you? Yes. Specifically as in for the next 2 months. Yeah,
absolutely. So what I discovered in the midst of the turmoil was I just got back to basics, and I said, okay, what is something that everybody needs, that I'm really good at, that's really specific, doesn't take much of my time, and I can get a fair exchange of value for. Okay. And that was writing biographies for people, right? And so I wasn't even trying to do that. So the first few of those just kind of fell in my lap. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. I'm actually getting pretty good money for these, and I can do them really fast. And so I did the math. And so the math worked out to where I was able to bring in just a very quick $6,000 this month.
Yes.
And then just mapping out my time over the next 2 months, I have a backup plan. So now I have a queue of people who are waiting in line for me to do their bios.
Yeah.
So the demand is there. The market knows who I am. People are waiting for it. And now that there's demand, I can probably increase my prices.
Got it. How much are you charging for that?
So the promo, so it was $750, and I run through a 30-day process with 2 calls with revisions. And it's a bit more of kind of branding and identity work. So it's a bit deeper than that. Okay. So I want to actually sell them into something else afterwards.
Okay.
So I ran a promo for $495 where they got 3 additional adaptations of their bio. So just basically their world-class bio and then adaptations into LinkedIn, Facebook, and whatever.
Yeah.
So if they got in early, they got at $495 and got 3 additional adaptations. If they got in late, then it was $750. So right now, all the early birds are clocked in. I'm starting to get the $750 coming across the line like every day or so. So it's just a matter of like.
And how are those coming in? Do you have a web page at the moment with that?
No, nothing. It's just conversations. They're like, can you show me examples? I'm like, how many do you want to see? Right. So I have the reputation, I got the credibility, and I have the like, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say that's what you're seeing at the moment in the next couple of months as being what's going to be continuing to generate the cash flow, or do you have any next step 2 you've already put in place?
The step 2, well, the thing that what I've realized is that at least I can focus on this, and I can pretty much predict my cash flow the rest of the year while I'm working on my big idea, which has been delayed from family issues. So I've kind of let go of the expectation of that 15, 20 grand, whatever, and just like let go of it. And if it shows up, it shows up. And I've positioned the right people into the first program so that if I come up with an idea of how I might like offer like investments or partnerships or something like that, then I want that to come very naturally and from a good energy, but not because of neediness or that, like, please give me money so you can make my thing successful.
Got it. Okay. I got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you some thoughts as to, which is going to be very linked to what Danette was showing as well. I'm going to give you some thoughts on best path forward on that as well. All right. Thank you very much, Jason. And good to hear you're weathering the crises. Okay. Let's come over next to Mary and David. So Mary and David have a company called Mammoth Health. They've just come and joined us, which is awesome. They have got here already. We haven't actually even had our own call yet. We've got that coming. But highlight was Chris Circle intro called Danny. So that's already started. Getting clarity about the two of us working together, bringing David into Mammoth to build the existing business and leveraging our new business off of that. And the biggest question is, how do we get our business to green level the fastest way we can? David is a Blaze supporter. What are the best metrics to measure his impact on the business to assist us to plan his transition from full-time external employment into the business? And Mary is a steel mechanic. For the best metrics to measure her specific impact on the business. So just to kick it off, I would love it. You can decide which of the two of you want to be the spokesperson for this. I would love it for you to just like share with everyone what is Mammoth Health? What is it actually delivering to people from your point of view of value, which is how it's growing? And then I've got a few questions for you as well. Hi, guys.
How you going?
Hello.
It's probably better if I speak on Mammoth Health. So I've actually had the business for 16 years. We're a health food store in a regional city in just an hour away from Melbourne in Victoria. And so health food store, so we're retail, supplements, herbal medicine, whole foods. We also have naturopaths, so we have a consulting rooms as a part of the retail store. And people come to us for their health. If they've got issues, with their health, they come for us to solve them.
Fabulous. And I mean, revenues at them. I mean, I will go through this detail when we have our call, but just for the purpose of this call, like monthly revenues at the moment.
So monthly revenues are between 60 and 70,000.
Okay. All right. And at the moment, what's your best idea of what David will be doing in the company? Because it sounds like that's all happening right now, right?
Well, it is, and it came off the back of iLab. So we've just been introduced to you this year, and we jumped at the opportunity to go to iLab. And so the whole genius types, it's all very new to us. But I'm a mechanic profile, and David in his roles has always worked with people, worked with teams, being in that CEO role. And it came to us at iLab as, why the hell aren't you working in my business and working with my people? And we're in a very transformation stage at the moment due to a number of factors. And so we're really building the business again, probably from ground up with a new team. So
why is that? Is that because the existing team is not working out, or other reasons?
No. Well, what actually happened is I actually sold the business this time last year, and I had all my ducks lined up. I sold at a good price, but we have an extremely difficult landlord, and he kind of spearheaded the whole deal. So the new vendor lost confidence with dealing with this new with our landlord. And his lawyer found a loophole to get out of the sale. So the business fell through, the business sale fell through. Yeah. And of course, there was a huge impact on my database. So my regular customers, because they thought I was leaving and they thought I'd left, but also I lost a lot of confidence with my staff as well. Okay. So my key staff have moved on, taking key patients and customers. So... okay. Yes.
How much has all that internal stuff affected, if at all, the customer, like the revenues coming in?
It has probably about 100,000, I'd say, with revenue. Okay. It's affected, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So you got that to read the moment, right? All right. Okay, got it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to come back to your questions. So onto the next steps and what to do and how to do it. Right. But welcome to the call. All right.
Thank you.
Fabulous. I see we've got two more people. I'm just going to share as well because they are also newcomers. We have got Yawen, who has come and joined us here. Let me just give you, I don't have the link on here at the moment, but Yawen has got her Hoya International company. I know at the moment, she also has been posting in here some of her highlights. Number one, for existing trading business, Plywood started 2 new customers, Malaysia, Australia, with trial orders placed this month. Diapers preparing Sri Lanka, adult diaper distribution, supply from China, and now developing baby pull-ups into China. And also for new holistic lifestyle business, developing Power Mind Pyramid Machine, and sleep frequency technology with Schumann resonance. So a whole bunch of different things here, but this is all about really building up the next level for the adult diaper company, which is already a multi-million-dollar business, and building that into what Yohan really wants to do, which is actually providing much more of a holistic lifestyle company, but for that niche market. So questions. Number one, what is a good business model for the Power Mind Pyramid Machine if adding B2C to make more people can be benefited from selling or recommending this product? And number two, how do I sell the Power Mind Pyramid product with educational courses as a package via Kajabi? Purchase Kajabi, knowledge commerce. So many of you might know Kajabi. It's like a good platform for you to do online membership with. So how can we do that? And number three, what's the best step for me to start? Okay, so first, because Yohan, all of your questions are around the whole Power Mind Pyramid side, do you have anyone in your team that actually has been able to go out and market products like that before? Are you just trying to figure all this out for yourself? Hi, Yohan. Welcome to the call. You need to unmute there, bottom left. There's an unmute button.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hiya.
Yeah. I'm doing everything. My current model for trading business is I'm always in the middle as to communicate for the supplier and then buyers and everything. I have someone to do. But now this new model, I will need some people's help.
Okay, so you've basically never gone out there, and you don't have anyone in your team that's gone out there and actually run any kind of marketing of events or programs before, right?
No.
Right. Okay. And at the moment, also, the person. What's the name of the person who set up the whole Power Mind in the first place?
Doris. She's a teacher who published a book that teaching us to work from our inner self, connect our heart and mind to create quantum experience of our life. So
she obviously has got her own. Organizers and so on, because you found her, right? So who currently runs all the things for her?
She has a team. She has a whole team already. Classes offering every month, and the product she developed is award-winning products.
Yes.
It's an OEM company, so that company also produce for other company in different mix. But she created this pyramid for sleeping is for people to come back.
I know. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so she's got her own team at the moment, and you're asking, how do I do all of this? But she already knows how to do all of this. She's already got the team doing it. So is there a reason you're trying to figure this out? Is it because she doesn't have a license system you've taken on board, or what's your relationship on how you're trying to build a business with her?
Okay. She does not have anyone to market for globally, internationally. Right now, it's stay in Taiwan and some in Malaysia and starting some in China.
And at the moment, has she got different organizers in Malaysia, in Taiwan, or is it the same organizers doing it everywhere?
She has another team, someone doing in Malaysia.
And have you spoken to them? Do you know what their model is and how they're doing it right now?
What they are doing now is not related to products. So after the last iLab in your sessions, that I started to focus on products instead of courses. Before I was thinking to market her course, but now I will focus on market the products, and by product is her course.
Okay. And the final question that I have is, what relationship do you have with her? Has she said you can take on other countries, or is it just your idea to do this?
Oh yeah, we are in contact every day. She's in contact with me because right now she needs someone to expand the English world, and yeah.
Okay. All right. So she wants you to do it. And have you agreed with her how you're going to partner with her or not?
What we are doing is her teaching is actually follow the inner wisdom, and it's co-create process. We don't know what's coming up, so she is looking forward. The whole team is looking forward what will come up. So
okay, right.
yeah, it's
the plan is to have no plan. Okay, I get it. All right. Okay, so just so I can answer all your questions right now. What are the email? What are the websites? What is her website right now for her company?
Okay, it's www. Just 1 second. Let me go to that website.
And by the way, for those who are new, there is actually a page, the first page, which is on the spreadsheets, where you can actually put all your websites and everything, which then makes it really super easy for me to just drop in and get all those different websites so that I can give you a context, which is what I'm about to do in a moment for everybody. So you've all got those contexts as you go as well. So it's going to take you a long time to find the website, Yohan, if you don't know it. Can you drop it in the comments? There's a comment section, in the chat, so we can actually at least have a look and see what she's doing there.
Okay.
That would be helpful, okay? All right.
Sure.
Okay, so, and finally, I'm going to I can see we have Daniel. Daniel Goodenough is on the call as well. At this point, this is Daniel's first call, so he's listening in here. I see that Daniel, you haven't yet posted any info on the spreadsheet, so I'm just going to share what we have been going through as we've been doing this. Everyone's been posting down on here whatever's been highlighted and questions and so on. And then, and so here's Daniel at the moment, but he's on the call at the moment. We have, and I've been posting as we've been going here, and I'm going to explain more about what I've been posting and what we're about to go through with everybody. But I'd love for you to share all the same. And so maybe, Daniel, if you could just start with just a quick intro to everyone about who you are and what your main business is and what you're really looking forward to most this coming year in terms of the shift in the business as well. So, hey, Daniel. And you're on mute at the moment. So the unmute button is on the bottom left-hand side there. You can't find it. So if you've...
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Hello.
Hello. Could you repeat the question? I was trying to get off mute.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just to share with everyone what's your main focus, the main business at the moment, and what you're most looking forward to this coming year in terms of business transformation.
Well, the main business that I'm doing is seminars for the most part. The Way of the Heart is one of the businesses. The Hugh Person Project is another one. Hugh Person Project is something I'm doing this week, actually. I'm working with helping a company called Burgerville. It's a Pacific Northwest burger chain. We just started a pilot project in the last 2 days to work with everyone on every level of the company, from people who are working crew to system managers and managers to chiefs at the home office, all to look at what's their life mission and how does that apply to the company and how do we work together to, what are we going to do together and how do we work together? And we just started that today. And so the launching of the Hugh Person Project is, well, it's kind of been prototyping and we're working it up. The website is something we just talked about today because in Tahoe, we looked at the website for the Way of the Heart and could see that the flow wasn't really happening there. And so as we're putting together the website for the Hugh Person Project, that was a discussion, and we're going to haven't really gotten to the planning for the things we talked about until probably Friday is when we're going to do that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm here to work on that project a week, a month, and then I have a lot of the Way of the Heart classes coming up. It's pretty busy until the end of the year.
Got it. Okay, awesome. And yeah, this next year, if you had one big goal you'd want to achieve so that in a year's time you look back and said, hey, this whole area of the business or this whole area of your life kind of transformed, what would be the biggest area right now?
The Huberson project, probably within a year, by a year from now, to have done some of the things we talked about in Tahoe.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. By the way, does the Hugh Person project have what's the website for that one?
We're working on it now. It doesn't.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. So we got that going. Okay. Great. So I know we're going to have our call going forward. And so this is more kind of like you just getting up to speed on the kind of format and what we actually cover on a call like this. What would be great is if you happen to have any immediate questions already top of mind that you wanted to throw into the mix right now, then now's the perfect time to do it. So anything coming up for you at the moment?
No, I haven't had the call with Danny yet either. So I feel a little bit like the net. I don't really know that.
Okay. No problem. Okay. Well, no problem. We'll get all that up to speed very, very soon. But I know there'll be some things on this call already that will kind of like, get you thinking in certain ways as we go forward too. All right. But welcome to the call and great to have you here, Daniel. All right. Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Great. And I mean, Daniel's business is pretty progressed right now. So one thing I will say, I'm going to say it's the Darius. I'm hoping Darius hears this, and he hasn't fallen asleep at 4 a.m. here. Darius is still here. Just checking. Okay. So one thing I do want you to do is just let Penny know, right? That we'll be moving Daniel to the green level, right? Where we're actually really starting to kind of map out the different businesses at the moment. So we want to definitely do that. So we've got him in at the kind of right level to really drive the business forward as well. So you can let Penny know about that as well. Plus, of course, we're going to be having our calls with him too. So I'm just going to put here, final thing. I can actually see as well that we actually do have, because I know I'm about to jump into this, but we actually have Benita that's on the call as well. I can see she's driving. She's also new to our call too. And I'm not sure if she is still on. I think she just had to drop off for a second. It looks like it anyway. So maybe she was trying to get on but couldn't make it. Okay. Oh, no, she is still on. Seems it's late at night there. Hey, Benita, I don't know if you can talk at the moment. I'm guessing you can't because you're driving, right? You can just nod or shake or no. Okay. She's listening, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to put her notes on here as well, and then I'm going to jump right into this. Okay, so here we go. So we have got basically like two main themes, but we also have a third kind of like, secondary, key theme that I'm going to share going into this as well, right? So share here my screen and everyone's and what everyone's up to at the moment. And so that becomes very more obvious to everyone how everyone is pretty much interlinked with what you're doing, but different at the same time. So here's my screen. I have got here all the notes. You'll see on here that I've got these codes, right? So these codes basically are about where on the lighthouse everyone's questions and where everyone is right now. So orange level is all about basically getting into flow. So Jason and his question, which is really making sure, like, how do I make sure I'm getting into flow, is similar to Robin's one. And so it's about how do you really make sure that flow happens. That basically is the follow the flow, right? Which is the third level at orange level. Everything I'm about to share with you, again, for navigation, for those who are newer to the core, but actually also as a reminder to everyone else as well, is when you go to Genius U, Genius U maps all this out. So think of this like flying a plane. If you're going to fly a plane, there might be someone that's still trying to figure out how to put the flaps down. There might be someone else who's actually, trying to work out how to get into international airspace because they've got a commercial liner. Each one is at a high level of complexity, but even the commercial liner still has to figure out how to put the flaps down, right? So what's really important is to know that we all are on the pathway somewhere. When I share this specific kind of like overview, micro degree is the best one to go for. I'll actually give you the link to it as well, which is the Millionaire Master Plan one, because in each one of the different levels, you'll find all the details are in here, right? So you can actually go straight from like red level, which is the one that, again, definitely a few like, Robin and Jason should be, revisiting through to yellow level, which is basically like where some of you are, as I'm going to go through in a moment. But the one that gives a general overview of all of it is the Millionaire Master Plan, because it's the one that actually explains all of them all together, right? So it's definitely the first place to start. It's this one here. So you've got 56,000 people on this course right now, right? And I'm going to just put on here as well, the Millionaire Master Plan micro degree. So I've been posting in all this. I'm going to show you that in a moment as well. And in here, you'll see that there is a number of steps to go through and the explanation of it. I'm going to go straight down. You can do this by clicking on next step as well. I'm going to go straight down to the pre-flight checklist. So this is like, flying a plane. You're going to check, first of all, is everything working on the plane? And this pre-flight checklist, which I will also give you the link to, I can go straight to any level of the lighthouse, and it will give me what the key steps are, right? So you've got here flight plan to begin with, which is like, do you actually have a future vision? The infrared to red level, which even someone at blue level needs to do, which is like, do I actually have my own personal flow in place? Everything from my relationships, my environment, my personal flow, which is going to get everything attuned to me, right? Is it all in place? This one here, orange 3, we can go here, red to orange level, and we can actually see that orange 3 is this one here, which is follow the flow. Follow the flow is the one which is all about where Jason and Robin is, right? And I've connected with companies and people in flow that I'm earning positive cash flow from, earning as I learn, right? So that's exactly what they need to be doing right now. I am investing my time in connecting with the people and opportunities in my chosen industry to grow the flow. So when you're hearing the likes of what Danette's done, or you're hearing the likes of what we just heard there with Jason Caniff, who's done, this is what he's been doing, right? Investing time and connecting with people and opportunities. So they're already naturally following the flow, which means flow's coming through. And then because the flow's coming through, they can focus on these next levels down here, right? And I'm measuring the growth in my knowledge and network, and I have clear pathways to deliver my value. So once you go down and do the micro degree, this stuff all gets a tick box. So, for some cases, like, oh, no, like that's a no, right? But we'll make that a yes, right? Go out and speak to those people and have that list of who those people are. So this makes it like really easy. There's only 3 steps at every one, and it's just doing those steps, which is the most important thing. If we go to the next level, which is this one here, which is yellow level 3. So while this is not one of the main themes, but I'm going to cover that very briefly. Yellow level 3, which is this one here, is actually once you've actually identified who you are, which a number of you are doing, right? So a number of you have done that really well in terms of your planning. Mastered your market, which is getting really clear who's your customer. And while many of you can do that better, for sure, and it's definitely worth going back to do that again, the question's really focusing on this third one here. So you can see here, Marie's asking this question about, okay, my podcast, how do I really make sure I've got a proper flow? Jason's asking the question, right, I've got my promotion going. What's the best way to do that? You've got Yoen, which is like, well, what's my best way forward now with this whole kind of like new thing that I'm doing right now? You've got Danette, who's same thing. It's like, okay, how do I make a cash flow promotion? That's definitely one of the themes, right? This one here, monetize your moment. And once you've done that right, I have outsourced or automated all my business processes so I can focus on profitable promotions. I have an annual schedule of promotion plans that links to my monthly profit loss and cash flow forecast. So when I ask the question, do you have a plan yet? Don't have a plan. Well, then get someone to help you get a plan and put it together. And you've got the formats for those plans inside that micro degree as well. I've aligned my team and partners to a weekly rhythm of results, testing and measuring based on our promotions. Well, then you're in executing, right? So when Robin says, I'm on track, it's like you can't be if you haven't got a plan. It's like a pilot saying I'm on track, but not having a flight plan. It's impossible. You have to have the flight plan to be on track. So that's why that's so important. So this is the yellow level 3. And then you've then got basically a number here like Mary and David is more green level, which is how do we get the team at the green level? How do we actually get the team working together? And there's a number of other green levels as well, like Julianne. Okay, I've got my branding. How do I get my partnership together? Daniel's at green level. No real questions at the moment, but basically, again, it's going to be more around that area. Julianne, the same, like, so we got, I've doubled up in Julianne, have I? Why did I do that? Hang on a second. Let me check, make sure I haven't missed anybody. We find Rensky here. Rensky is, yeah. Oh, no, okay, I just doubled up. Okay, so Rensky to, then let me cut that one out. All right, so, and then the final thing is that we also have a question which is more green level 2, which is Gabriel, which is like, okay, I've actually got my team. How do I actually make them work properly? like what I don't know. And that's what green level 2 is about, rhythm. So I've actually got on here as well, green level 2. Green level 1 is we've got a compelling, unique enterprise promise that creates attraction of customers and resources. We've got a business model that affords a leadership team, right, and a team charter. And I've selected an empowered leadership team to lead the company, right? So this is what we're talking about on the green one. This one here, which is that we've now got a rhythm of review and renew, is where Gabriel doesn't have that at the moment, which is why he's struggling with this green level person, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work backwards. These are the 2 main ones, the green level, establish your enterprise, and the monetize your moment. So I'm going to work backwards from that, and then I'm going to kind of end up at the beginning, right? The reason I said that there's kind of like a third theme, all right, is I'm going to get rid of these ones here now. The reason I say it's a third theme is because there is also a bit of a rainbow theme. Rainbow means that we're all over the place, right? Because everyone's asking questions on different areas of the spectrum. So that's okay too. So So let's start basically with Gabriel's question, right? Which is like, I got a star. He's out there saying, I want to go make some money. I've got these sales, but then he's not hitting the numbers. So the first thing when you've got someone in your team and they're not working out is to be really, really clear. It'll be as a result of one of three reasons. The three reasons that something's not working out is either an in order culture is number one, right? So it's going to be culture as a first key step, and I'm going to understand what I mean by that in terms of like what you need to do or how you need to check, is it the right thing or not, in terms of the thing that they're actually doing for you. The other thing, which is really super important, which is the one that I've already written down, is capability, which is, are they actually capable, of actually getting the job done in the first place, right? Or is there actually, or is there someone else who actually should be taking that job instead? And the most important one, which is the middle one, is capacity. Most of the time we overload people with the wrong stuff, or we're not actually equipping them for success. So they might be totally capable, but because they're not directed in the right way, or they're not actually, engaged in the right way within the company, they can't do that. So Richard Branson says, when he's asked, how do I make my $1 billion business? He says, first of all, I get the right people, right? So that's culture and capability. I then set them up for success, which is capacity. And then I get out of the way. That's it. That's what he does. So it's about really understanding in that way. So how does Gabriel make sure he's got these set? The way you do it is make sure you've got a really, really clear plan where you're then assessing why things aren't working on the plan, and is he able to come up with those solutions? Because if he can't come up with solutions, he's going to be the wrong person. So every time that we set ourselves a promotion plan, and to give you an idea, for those who are new to what does a promotion plan actually look like, we put all our plans together in one charter, in one team charter. So those of you who are going to who are going to into the green level promotion, or in the case of, like, so for example, Daniel Goodenough, who I'm going to put into the green level team, and some of you are on the verge of going green level as well. I mean, Mary and David, once they get started, I'll put you up to green level as well. I think Julianne, you're getting to a stage, as is Gabriel, that as you start really making sure your promotion's in place, also I'll be putting you up to green level, because green level is where you actually start really mapping it out for your team, and your team can really get going. And while I won't go through the whole thing on this call on what this team charter is, we have a quarterly meeting this Friday for our Genius U team charter. We do it every quarter and covers everything from our product range through to our team, who's doing what within the team. And everyone on the team has got their own plan. We've got our actual financial forecast of what we're looking to generate, what our key metrics are. Everything is all in there. We've even got this time around what we want everything to look like by the end of the year for each of our companies as well. So this one's specifically for the mentoring company, what we want it to look like, record a year for revenues, transformation in the business. So everyone's like, yes, that's what we're going to do. And then everyone's got their own plan of how they're going to do it. So this is an example here, right? Let me take an example like, I'll make a simple one. I'll take an example like the event side, okay? So here's Jess. So Jess has put together her events promotion plan, where she says, right, over the next 3 months, so this is basically for this quarter right now. So when we review in 2 weeks' time, this quarter, she'll be reviewing this. And she'll review and actually say, well, first of all, what's the problem and solution on what you're solving? What's the offer you're giving? Who's in the team? So you can see it's led by Jess, right? And then basically, who's in that team? I'm in her team right now doing this. So she's driving it. And then what are the financial objectives? So she had $1.1 million in revenues to generate through these different events. And then when we have our meeting, she'll be saying, here's how it went. Here's what I actually generated in financials and development and learning, what went right or wrong. And she's also tracking as she's going, where did it go right or wrong in what she's doing? So if I go back one quarter, the last team chart, which would be this one here, quarter two, I can already go in and see, what did Jess learn last quarter? Like, did she hit the numbers? Did she not? Are there issues with what she was doing? She's able to tell me what those issues are. So for Gabriel to start putting these things together, and I'll tell you the most basic things. You don't need the whole team charter to start with when you're at yellow level. You do need the promotion plan, and then you do need to have the personal compass. So and these templates are all within the downloads, right? And anyone who has a problem with it, let Darius know. We'll get Darius and Penny onto it as well. So this was last quarter. You can see quarter two, right? This was from April through to June. And let's see what Jess had as her forecast on that one. Financial objectives, right? You can see here, she's got specific financial objectives. She had basically $1.1 million total. On these events that she did 560. She's way beyond target, right? Below target on this one. But she actually had profit. She was actually making She was a bit below profit, but not that much. And then she also had basically this one here, which is like, commissions she wanted to pay out. And she was also below on that. So not a good quarter for Jess, right, and what she was doing. However, she's also got development objectives, which is what are you looking to develop that wasn't there before? So she's trying to build a local event pathway. Well, she gave herself a 5 out of 10 for doing that one. With the EI event team, she gave herself another 5 out of 10 of that one. She said, why? Digital marketing strategy, she gave herself 5 out of 10 of that one. So she's really self-assessing herself. And then with the learning objectives, she's given herself much higher scores. I learned how to cut down event costs. It's like 8 out of 10. Budget and tracking now is in place, which has meant that this quarter, she's actually exceeded her target, right? So you could have someone where just like in exactly this case of Gabriel, like, and just a supporter profile. But with Gabriel, it's like, like with Julio, it's like, hey, he's behind. Yeah, but if he's learning and he's saying, I've learned this and I've learned that, and this is what I'm going to do different, then you can actually get him back on track again, right? So in the first step, sounds like he could be a culture fit, but which is where he fits in the culture. Capacity, you could say, actually, he's going to tell you when things aren't working, when he has to do things differently. So when I said personal compass, everyone in the team has got their own personal compass. The personal compass looks like this. So here's my personal compass. So let's just go and have a look at Jess's personal compass, right? So here's Jess. Here is Jess. Where is Jess? Hold on a second. Here's Jess, right? So this is how she puts her personal compass together. She's got basically her purpose, her supporter, like her profile. She's got on here what her role is, which is global marketing events manager. She's got on here, what her top priorities are. So like what the key things she was actually aiming to do in the quarter and what she was doing in the last quarter. So she put this back together in March, and then we reviewed it in July, right? And we do that all as one team. Big wins, right? Restructured the team, launched 26 websites, events now profitable, transparent, easy to understand. Challenges, we're restructuring the team, sales problems with ticketing, not having venues locked in, getting the expenses tab. She's saying, here's what I want, here's what the challenges were. So I'm not there saying you didn't do your job. She's there saying, hey, here's what I did well, here's what I didn't do so well. And as a result, this is really about having a learning organization. So this is about you, Gabriel, getting with Julio and saying, right, based on the fact we didn't hit our promotion plan on the last one, like look at this quarter, what can we do differently? What would you do differently? What do we want to test out to see if it works or not? Let's give it a shot if we didn't hit it to do it again. If it doesn't work next time, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I mean, like, put it out there that if it's really not working, then maybe it's time to look for somebody else, because at least that way he's not taken by surprise when it's not working out, right? So it's really super important. So when you say, what do I not know, I don't know, the answer is it's exactly this. It's putting together the way for him to self-assess himself so you can check, does he have the capability? If he can't even do that, he shouldn't be in the company. But if he can do that, and you've actually put him in a place where he's actually not able to solve the problems you're giving him, then downgrade him into another role where he actually can be capable again, right? Because everyone can be capable at some level. And then say, right, capacity-wise, like, how can I make sure I give the right person the right job to do so I'm not overloading them in the right place as well? So it's super important on how to do that. And by the way, in terms of your level of enterprise, I personally believe, like, he thinks you're kind of between 1 and 2. You think you're at 3. I personally believe you're actually at 2, right? I don't think you're at 3 yet, because 2 is about brand attraction. So like, this is about the 8 stages of enterprise. If I actually just open up for a moment, our kind of like link to this. At our master's program, which many of you have been to, we go through what those 8 stages of enterprise are. Enterprise stage 1 is proven concept, which means people are buying your products because you're solving a particular problem. So you've got that right now, Gabriel, because people are coming in and doing your workshop. Brand attraction is that they constantly keep on coming back, buying more and more stuff from you. You're still trying to work that out. I mean, that's what you've given him as a problem, is to go to people and actually get them to buy more from you. What Danette's got now is brand attraction, right? She's going back to someone saying, hey, we solved the problem for you. What else can we do for you? And then they're going, here's what we can do for you, right? So they're co-creating a new product with Danette now. They're going out and saying, we want this or this or this to solve a new problem that they've got. So that's leading to the second step. So that's what you really want to do. Go back to your top 20% of all your customers and get him to actually get them into the next thing they should be doing. That will double your sales way faster than anything else that you do as well, right? Operating team, not yet. Operating team comes easily once you've got brand attraction really locked in solid, which is what you need to do right now. Green level. Let's go through, first of all, Mary and David. So Mammoth Health. Let me give everyone a bit of a context, first of all. I posted on Facebook here all of everyone's posts after I posted these ones earlier today as well, right? So you can see here, we talked about Gabriel just now. Here's Gabriel in Mexico. So he's building all of our programs out in Mexico right now. And here is basically his green level business of actually helping other people who are coaches and mentors to actually build theirs as well. Here's Magical Land of Awesome. It's a new podcast that Marie's put out there, which is awesome. So big congrats on that. Get some of the people already who are your community members, Marie, giving you customer ratings as well. So this thing starts to trend. So you can do that pretty easily. You just go even to the authors, get them to give you ratings. And then here is her promotion plan, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And then here is Debbie Adia, and you can see here, podcast on purpose, special offer. So clear. If someone wants to have a podcast, she's going to show you how to do it. This is the next step for Daniel, by the way. For Jason Kenneth, is to put a page like this together for your buyers. Because you do copy, right? So you should actually have this on here for your copy for sure, right? And then people are going, oh, I need to have that as well. And then all the people that you're doing buyers with right now will go out and recommend it to friends, and you just have all this business coming through to you. I have more I want to share with you as well, because bio is proven concept. You're ready for brand attraction right now. So I'm going to come back to what you need to do to get ongoing flow. Ongoing cash flow, by the way, which is what we're going to get to with Danette, with Jason, and so on, is at level 2. It's not at level 1. Level 1 is like just selling one product. You can't have ongoing cash flow when you're selling one product, because when someone buys one product from you, there's nothing else to buy from you, right? You get to ongoing cash flow when you get to level 2 product, which is that when you have a product pathway. So you see that every one of our different promotion plans has always got a product pathway. It's always not just selling one product. It's saying what happens after that. And you've actually got then a series of products that they're buying over time, which then allows you to then have over the year a plan of what people are going to be doing. And if customers know that's what they want to do, they'll go through every one of those. Just like if you're at school and you've got like 3 semesters or 2 semesters, and you're going to come back to the next one to graduate the whole year. So you have to get the partner on board with what your plan is as well, right? So super important, right? As we kind of come back to all of these different links here. Let me just make sure I don't miss any. Here's Shining Star. So this is Julianne at the moment with her old branding. Here's Colors of Australia. So these are all the super cool, felt and like soft toys, which, and as you just heard from Rensky, how she's actually building this company up right now to actually now have a platform for it as well, which is really awesome. And then I also have a number of other pages, I think, which I got on here. So here's the next page at the moment. And then we also have, at the moment, Jason's branding page, which is coming soon, which is why I said, where's your website, right? So we'll come back to that. And here's Mammoth Health, right? So on the Mammoth Health side, here's the actual health shop and the clinic, right? Here's all the things right now that are around that. And the real question is, how can we, if you're doing 60 grand a month already, you're kind of getting to a point where you're getting close to $1 million a year. And you guys should be looking at how to get from $1 million to $2 million this next year. And the way you're going to be doing that is by really making sure you've got a solid team, but more importantly, by actually ensuring you have a plan together to say, right, what's the real thing we're going to do to launch forward the way that people are getting great value within the health shop? Like, what's the pathway we're actually following, getting people through to do it? So one of the best ways, and you've got this thing, join the Mammoth Tribe, right? That people can actually join it and be a part of it, which is great as well. So the most important thing is making sure, first of all, your team is working well together. And then we can talk about the plan, which we'll do on our call together as well. So what's the easiest way to do that, right? Support a mechanic definitely is, I'm going to recommend a book for you guys, which is really, really valuable. In fact, for Daniel Goodenough, good book for you to read as well. It's a book, Rocket Fuel. A book is because it really shows that the only way to get from from a dynamic leader or one person leading a company to a solid team is through your second person, right? So the key thing here is who's your second in command, or who is the person who's going to be your integrator. So on here, this book, which is by Gina Wickman, it's all about the definition of your top 2 people, which is your visionary. Visionaries have groundbreaking ideas. Integrators make those ideas a reality. So think of it like CEO and COO. And it's a really great book that explains how you do it well to actually have the two working well together. Because often what happens is the visionary is trying to go too fast or has got too many ideas. And the integrator is actually wanting to go much, much slower and to focus on a few things. So within every one of my companies, I have an integrator. I'm the visionary in Genius U. Michelle is my integrator. She's the supporter profile. I'm the visionary in Entrepreneur Resorts, and Sandra is my integrator, and she's a Lord profile because they're different types of businesses. So I'll just give you this link first of all. So you've got a link to it. And then what I'll do is I'll come back. Let's make sure I put this down here. Okay, so I'll post that down here as well. So super important to do that. And by the way, I actually missed a few of you to drop your links down as well, so I'll do that too. So here, for example, is, well, first of all, I already shared this one. Let me just get Mammoth Health, and I'm just going to drop these links in here as well, so you can get a context of everyone on the call. Here is the Way of the Heart. So this is Daniel's company, and he's doing his new website, as we heard as well. And there's things we talked about at the state page on that as well. And then here's also Tried Wealth, right? So I'm going to post that down here too. Okay, we're going to continue here. So this element, like with Mary and David, is Mary, I think you're the visionary from the looks of it, sounds of it, because you know more about the business. David's the integrator. And for you guys to then sit down and say, okay, in the same way you're writing a future vision for yourselves, which we'll go through, what's the future vision for the company itself? What would you love the company to look like a year from now? We do our future visions on one slide. I mean, just one slide. So that was the one I was showing you here, which is like by the end of this year, what do we want the business to look like? And then we actually then have got one slider, which actually then allows us all to rally around as a company and saying, that's what we want to look like 1 year from now. We go further, we actually have a blueprint that we create, which is our 2030 vision, right? I want to give you a link to that blueprint. I think that's really, really valuable as well. Like, what's your big mission as your company that you want everyone to be focusing at? So we have like a snapshot. I'm just looking for it here. I think I've got the wrong one. I think it's in this one here. Okay, there it is. So we have a snapshot, which is like what we want it to look like by the end of this year. And in each area, it's like, how well are we doing these different things? But then we also will have like a blueprint, which is a larger document, which looks onto SlideShare, because SlideShare then makes it public, which means that anyone can get to it. So you can have a look at this blueprint here, where it actually gives, for anyone out there who's saying, what's Entrepreneur Resource about? Why are they even doing what they're doing? It talks about the entrepreneur movement. It talks about our mission. So for some of you going to Green Level, putting a mission statement together and putting it in as a document, like here's our pathway of how you can actually work with us. So if you are, for example, at like level 1, like an apprentice, discover your path, explore. If you're like a startup entrepreneur, understand your path, do the wealth dynamics, attend an event, come to an event next, join a mastermind group, attend our accelerator, then join Crystal Circle. Like, it's so clear what the steps are that someone needs to take. And then we'll actually sit down with our GDC 90 someone saying, right, here's the step to ensure you get to success. And here's like, there's 5 steps to get there. And someone says, right, I'll join the mastermind. I'm ready for iLab Accelerator. They're ready for the next products because you've actually laid it out for them as well. So I'm just going to give you this link because for some of you, the best thing to do right now, especially if you're going to Green Level, is say, right, I'm going to lay out that mission. So in Mary's case, the very first step is saying, well, like write out, what do you want the business to look like 5 years from now? What's it going to look like by the end of next year? Work collectively together, both of you, to work on that. Read that book, Rocket Fuel, and then basically say, okay, if we're going to actually now start building Mammoth Health, and we're going to work together, here's my roles, here's your roles, and here's the other people in the team and what they need to do as well. But even just between now and the next call, just basically getting that mission together, getting the vision together, and then from there saying, here's what I'll be doing, here's what you'll be doing, and then using basically the tools in that book, that gets you there way, way easier, right? So that's what I would share. Partnership. So like with Julianne asking partnership, I would definitely say it does not matter if you're over one country to another country. Partnership is about knowing what kind of partnership you're looking to create and the percentages behind it. So in your case, you're actually talking about a product partnership. There's three main types of partnership, really. I mean delivery partnership, right? There's 3 main partnerships. The first one is a marketing partnership. So it's where if they're going to give you business or if you're going to give them business, then you're going to get a percentage out of doing that, right? So you might say, I'll just refer business to you and I'll just keep 10%, right? Really simple. Or I'll keep 20%, up to you to decide what you think is fair with them. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is a sales partnership where you say, I'll actually make the sale for you. So I'll do the marketing, I'll make the sales, I'm just going to give you a customer. You might have a high percentage for that. So we have sales partners where we give them people to phone up. They keep 10% of that. So we normally keep 20% on we normally will allocate 20% for our marketing. So if we have like affiliates and partners, we might pay them 10, we might pay them 20. But even Facebook is a marketing partner of ours. So when we spend money on Facebook, then we'll say, okay, 20% is the most we want to spend. For every $10 we make, how much do we spend on marketing? Oh, we spend $2. So it's in that percentage. Sales is about 10%. So if we have someone who says, okay, I just spoke to someone, they just bought iLab. That's an $8,000 program. It's like, cool, you get $800 for that, right? So someone can earn like, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month working with us, just speaking to our clients. and then actually generating revenues out of that. And then that basically is your sales partnership. And the third part is delivery partnership. So delivery is where you've actually got someone who's delivering for you. So Julianne could actually go to these guys and say, look, I'll just pass people your way, and then I'll basically just keep a percentage. But I don't recommend that, because why? It's your customer, and you want to be actually in there ensuring they're actually delivering for you as well. So delivery is when you're effectively buying their service at wholesale, which means that you're still billing it yourself, but then you're actually they're then billing you, right? So on the first-time marketing side, they'll build a customer direct. If someone's in Canada, they don't want someone in America billing them, in Canada from America. They'd rather you bill them. But then they could say, hey, we just worked for these 3 clients of yours. Each one of them we're doing this project for. You build out a certain rate, and then you're getting a wholesale rate from them. Maybe you're billing it out where you're charging $3,000 for their service. They charge you $2,000 for the service, right? So you're making up the difference. So it's wholesale. So that delivery is when you're paying either a trainer or you're paying someone like your accountant in America to do a certain job for you. They're giving you a special wholesale rate to do it. So you're still making money off it. But at the end of the day, it's still basically packaged into what you do as well. We do this a lot, right? I mean, we do this where if we're running an event, for example, people are paying us for the ticket to come to the event, but then we're paying a whole bunch of people off the back of it, right? And then we make sure that we actually then get the results to it. Now, it's up to you to decide, do I want to go delivery, right? Delivery generally, like in accounting, in consultancy, maybe 30%, right? I mean, the rule of thumb is whatever you're going to pay the consultant or the lawyer or the accountant, triple your fees, right? And then a third will go to that person, a third will go to the overheads, a third will go to profit, right? So if again, that's the way you should be thinking about that on delivery. And you decide which way works best for you, and then you ask them which way works best for them. All right, and once you know that, then that's when they can basically be billing you, and then you're fine, right? That's the way to do it. In terms of branding, the best way to really just make the fact that you've got this La Source branding and make it really, really super clear is very much about basically just being really clear. What is your mission statement and what is your culture, right? Like, is there a page I can go to on La Source branding which explains what it is and how it works to make it really simple? So if I go to Genius U, for example, let's just go to the page, and I'm brand new, I'm going to Genius U. This is what comes up, right? It's like someone says, what is Genius U? Oh, yeah, it's this thing you got to go to. You'll find it's really good for being an entrepreneur. It's like, really? I'll go have a look. So you go to Genius U as a page, and you want to be told straight away, what is this thing? How's it going to help me? My internet's really slow at the moment. Apologies for this. Here it is. And here it is. Welcome to Genius U. Join the world's #1 entrepreneur education platform. It's like really, really clear what this thing is. You can take a tour, or you can start learning now, right? So you're going to take an action. Now, if someone wants to scroll because they're like, I want to know more about this, then it goes straight into Ignite Your Genius. You can learn from micro degrees, learn by personal AI. So you've gone from what is the benefit of this, which is being the world's #1 entrepreneur education platform, to what are the features of this, and then who, joining, and then, so you've got the proof now, right? You've got all these people, and it's like, oh, I better join this. There's all these people doing things on here as well. But really simple, right? So again, it's about simplicity comes from saying, what is it that you do? So with La Source, you're saying, what is it that we are as La Source, right? And actually, for you to share something around that, to say by working with La Source, you're getting to the source of your numbers, right? Like what actually causes, profit to be made, what causes revenue to be made. And you actually go, whatever happens to be your key branding message, you're building that out into your page, and then everyone gets it and goes, well, I totally get that. And I know how I can explain that to somebody else as well, right? Really super important. Okay, going into these promotion plans, right? I'm going to give you some kind of like real key how-tos. I've already half answered Marie around the whole podcast niching, which is that you are at a point where you want to provide a number of key steps, podcast debrief, which is the right first 2 steps. Then you're saying a promotion plan. You can see really clearly that when you come to a page like this one here, it's really clear, like for product and purpose. It is a promotion plan, right? They're putting it together for you in a 6-week journey, but it's specifically on doing a podcast, right? And then it shows what we're going to do for you. In your case, you've got basically this here, be curious, stay awesome. So this is a good example of a promotion plan. Marie's doing this because she's working, I think she's doing this with Michelle. Michelle helps you to put a promotion plan together if you want to do that with Michelle. She runs this thing called a business accelerator. The same thing that you saw me talk about, a promotion plan has always got the same format. You've got what is the problem that we're actually solving, what's the solution that we're giving, and then from there, like what are the steps, right? And if it's going to start with a podcast, which is all about the magical land of awesome, right? Then it's from there, you then go on this journey where they're going to work with you on how you then actually grow accountability into your own promotion plan. So here's Marie. You've got 5 best-selling authors for You Are a Genius. So obviously, if you are actually having a plan on how you can be a published author, right, then that is a very, very clear plan, which will then allow you to make this happen. Because then it's like, well, one easy step is you just come and join our what we're doing, and you become a published author. If you make the whole theme is how do you get your story out there, right? The whole thing is about storytelling, and it's about telling your story in the right way. And obviously, many people are doing this anyway. Like you do this specifically for people that are making an impact in the world, and you've built already your own branding because you've already got all these people that you're actually doing this with. You're interviewing them as well. You're going through the process of the book coming out at the same time. So you are going to have people who are going to go, I really want to do this, and I want to have my story out. They'll come on board with you, and then, of course, you're taking them through that pathway. That does not mean that's the only pathway you need to have. Like in the future, you could say, well, like we've got one pathway, which is telling your story. We could say telling your story through print. In the future, you could have telling your story through video and do something for YouTube videos. And then you could have a whole new section of people saying, I want to do the YouTube video thing, right? You could do the same to say, telling your story online, which is how do you tell your story online? You could partner up with Jason, who's already telling people's story online with their bios. So you can see how every one of these is a new thread, which is all about the magical land of awesome, which is storytelling. It's people telling their stories in different ways, but start with one niche. And I would highly recommend you start with a niche of actually getting your story out in a book, because that's what you're actually already doing. And then life gets really super clear. And then someone's coming to a page just like this page here, which is not podcast on purpose, but it's now, telling your story in a powerful way through magical land of awesome, right? So you're actually using that whole idea, right? And I mean, you've got a nice brand now in terms of this whole magical land, right? So you could even take that as your base, right? If you wanted to, right? So take that magical, right? And talk about magical storytelling, right? Or talk about magical videos, right? Talk about magical, build the brand into different streams and just start with one stream to begin with until you've done that right. Then build it onto the other ones. That would be your third step, right? Which is implementation, okay, around a specific thing. And what I'd say is on investor actions, you don't have to worry about the investments on things like Entrepreneur Resource and on Genius U, because we're already mapping out and planning to make sure that if even things go tough, we're okay with that. The most important thing is that you're not invested in things where things could easily go massively wrong and there's no way for you to actually manage it, right? So just be really careful where you're putting your money right now. And as much as possible, put it in with people who already are preparing for the future, right? Because we're actually going to be seeing this pretty big shift happening over the next couple of months, next couple of years, as I mentioned as well. Okay, let's talk about the other yellow level ones. Let's talk first of all, let's come over to Danette here, right? So Danette, as you said, really great, going from 2,000 to 11,000 per client by going and asking them on what they should do. Best way to start with the EI, perfect, asking us as well. 100%, I believe, is to do the same thing, which you just saw Rose do, right? It's actually just running the event. Because we're running events in the beginning of next year. She didn't have to get a lot of people coming for those events. She went out, she got the partners. We've just come with Lena. Lena's been here in Lithuania, where we've just had she had over 300 people in the room for the event. We can come, we can generate the sales, we can generate value for everybody. And so for you to just say, right, I'm going to actually run that event and make that happen. I mean, Robin could definitely do the same thing as well. We know it's not that difficult to fill up an event because we've already got very, very strong materials. We now have websites that work. We've got the whole model is already there. It's just replicating the model and just using all the tools. So it's just getting with Jess and saying, right, Jess, I'm in. And then Jess saying, great, here's what you need to do. And here's the steps. And then just driving those steps forward with the date. And every one of the Entrepreneur Fast Tracks that we have actually committed to and run with a leader this year has worked. All of them. I mean, there's nothing we've done that's not been profitable and hasn't put money in the pocket of the leader, right? So just be aware that that's already available, and you're both in that space where that would be the next step, I would believe. In addition to the fact that you're doing what you're doing right now, which is actually doing the flow consultant, performance consultant thing, where you're actually also going out doing workshops, and then from those workshops selling into the different programs you're doing as well, which is really important. This lead pages is definitely about conversion. So when you have a lead page into something, it's about the conversion in exactly the same way. So for example, if I was to go to like one's profile, right? Then this would be an example of one page, which is where you're actually physically paying for something. But if I had a lead generating page, like one of our guides, for example, right? Like to download the e-guide or something like that. We've got all of our e-guide pages. That one is like this. It's a different landing page, right? And then actually goes through. Now, this one is the one that goes straight off, so you can just download it straight away. Whereas we have landing pages for everything that we do, which is all about conversion again, of people coming to the page saying, I want to get that thing for free, and then they'll go and they'll download it straight away, right? So it's definitely product page, right? All product pages, whether it's free or whether it's paid for, is a lead page. And for those of you who are actually doing lead pages, know there's already some really good lead pages out there. Lead pages itself, leadpages.net, is a good one, right? And then the other one, which is a good one, is ClickFunnels, because these guys give you how to create high conversion qualified pages, and they explain it to you as you're doing it. In fact, they go to other stuff as well, how to get like qualified leads for Facebook. It's just their whole business is based on this. So don't go and try and recreate the wheel. We don't. We go and learn from the very best, and then we work from them, right? So I'll just post that with you. The other one is ClickFunnels, which gives you kind of a whole kind of like package. I don't think ClickFunnels is as good, but it's still worth having a look at, just to see what you think of that compared to lead pages, right? So you can at least compare as well. And they give you even like templates. They give you templates of what works best and why it works best as well, right? So I'll just give you those two so you've got them. Okay, so consistent dollars, right? So both Jason and Danette are like, what do I do on consistent dollars? I'll answer this when I answer Jason's one here. First thing is knowing you can't actually manage multiple. The reason you're having a challenge is you're trying to manage multiple promotions at the same time. So you have to find different project leaders to manage your different promotions. And so the most important thing is to say what's most important for your promotion first. Okay, so you're inviting some blue level people in with or potential investors in with your current program. Okay, that's fine. So, they could be people that might invest in a program in the future. Whenever you're looking, I'm going to answer the investment question first. I'm going to come back to multiple promotions. Whenever you've got people that say, I want to invest in you, Jason, I want to give you some money, definitely don't start in equity. Start with the project, start with the promotion. So when we run a promotion, if it needs money, like if we were running a promotion where we said, hey, we reckon for this promotion, we're going to make like $30,000, right? We're going to get like 30 clients who are going to pay us $1,000 each. We're going to make $30,000. We know we need some money up front to make the money. Maybe we need like $5,000 because we're going to pay for some team members. We're going to do some websites and things like that. Once we're done with this thing, after all our costs, I'll be delivering on it and everything like that, we'll make $10,000 profit. Let's imagine that's what's going to happen, okay? So you say we're going to generate $30,000, we'll make $10,000 profit, but I need $5,000 to get started. So you go to someone, and this is what in financing terms is called a bridging loan, right? They're giving you money where they're going to get a return, and you can make it something where they can get a higher return. So you could say, look, give me $5,000. I'll give you back the $5,000 and a minimum of like 10% of your money, right? I'll give you $5,500 back. And I'll give it to you in 3 months' time because I know once I've got that money, I'll make at least the $5,000. So I'll give you the money plus 10% back. Someone goes, well, that's really good, right? And they might just go and give you that money anyway. Or you might say, give me the money and I will give you a return on the project itself, right? You give me $5,000 now. That helps me to fund it. I'll give you 20% of the profit, right? I'm aiming to make like $10,000, right? Which means that if I get 20%, you're going to get $2,000 out of it. Someone goes, what? I give you $5,000 now. You're going to give me back $7,000? You're like, yeah, because I need the $5,000 to make the rest of the money. But if I don't make the money, well, then I'm not going to give you the money back and I have to pay back to you later. So there's a high risk with reward if you do it that way as well. But either way, and the simplest, easiest one is if you think, look, I really know that I'm going to be able to pay the money back, then make it like a loan, right? Where they can give some money and then get a bit extra. And then you're not having to give away too much. But always do it by a project, way better way to do it. And then you can always raise the money you need for that project and then have the money afterwards. When we run an event, we don't say we're going to pay you to do the event. We say you cover your own costs on it. We'll pay you back from the results of the actual event. All right? And then from there, they then get paid back. And because we've got predictability, they go, well, we believe Roger because he always ends up with an event that makes money. So we believe that we'll put money on our credit card. We'll cover the cost. So we're not covering any of that cost. They're covering all of it. But then at the end of it, they get paid back all of it plus a big return. And that means we're not having to put like money up front. And it means everyone wins, right? So that's the way to do it if you're looking for funding in the short term. And every one of you can do that in some way. I had a situation in my 20s where I was like in real difficulty because one of my businesses went under and I needed personal money. And so I just went to some people I knew and I said, well, you know, I can go out and make money. I'm in a tough spot right now. You give me money right now. I'm going to give you a percentage of all the money I make over the next 2 years, right? And as a result of that, I actually generated over $200,000 in cash that people just gave me because they knew I was going to figure out a way to make money because they trusted me on that. And I didn't even know how I was going to make money at that point. I just knew I was going to make it. And I used that money to cover all my debts that I had at the time and then go out and figure out the new thing and then get them all paid back, right? So there's always a way, once you start actually, people can see you can make money, to actually have people say, well, then I'll give you capital. Capital is just basically bringing the future forward. That's all it is. Cap is like a river, bring the future forward. When someone's giving you money for your business, they expect to get the return later, but they're looking at your future, how predictable is that? And then you actually bring it forwards. And how do you manage multiple promotions? You get multiple people doing it. I think, Jason, in your case, you can take the idea of doing a bio and you can take it one step further. Have a look at what Michelle's doing with basically people putting together their promotion plans. And you'll find that the three most important things that come out of it is, does someone have their personal website? Like, so someone like Julianne right now, she's got a personal website. She's looking to put a company website together. You know, Daniel, for his U-Person project, is looking to put his company website together. So you could say, right, I'm going to provide the copywriting skills to put your own, you know, bio together, which then can lead to your own website. And you could say, right, you know, charge $750 for the bio, $1,500 for the website, for example, right? And then I'm going to do the same as the next step for your company site. And then I'm going to do the same for your promotion page. You can decide how much of that you want to deliver out. But if you build that as a flow and everyone goes, I need those three things because I've been on Michelle's program and I know I have to have a page, you can have all sorts of people saying they want to pay you money to do it when they see the results of what you do. And then you're actually then able to write off all of the people already who know they need the stuff done, but they just want someone to do it for them, right? So I think, again, the bio is an awesome way to get started. But if you want to have, how do I create ongoing guaranteed promotion? It's knowing the people who are buying from you are going to come back and buy from you again and again. It's that second step, which is brand attraction, which means you've got an actual product line. So that's what I would recommend as like the most important thing to do. I'm going to come back to the final thing now, just straight after speaking to Yawen for a moment. On Yawen, in terms of, and what I'm going to do, just so everyone knows, like on the hour, I'm pretty much going to finish what I'm saying here. And then I'm going to give everyone a chance to share whatever's the biggest takeaway from this call from you as well, because I've covered quite a bit of ground here as well. And remember that even though you might have lots of notes from this call, after the call, go back over the notes and just pick the top 3 things to execute and just focus at those things so you don't get overwhelmed by too much stuff from the call as well, right? Okay, that's a little tip. Right, so let's just come back to Yawen for a moment. Yawen is saying, how do I do something? And she's already surrounded by people that are doing it. The reason that they want to work with Yawen is because Yawen has got a global reach. She's got a multi-million-dollar business. But at the moment, what Yawen doesn't have, they already have, which is a model that actually works. So what Yawen should be doing is she should be saying, right, I'm going to set up a 3-month plan, maybe 6 months if you want to, where you are going to go and see the people in Taiwan, or at least have a conversation with them, the people in Malaysia, and you're actually going to say, we're going to basically package up your model, what you do. You're going to learn what they do. How do you do your event right now? What materials do you use? How much money does it make? How do you keep your community in place? What do you do? The reason we're doing this is we're designing a country model. And we have a country model where we say, here's how a country leader can run a country. And once we know what the country model is and how much money it can make, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find another 20 country leaders, right? That's how you're going to do it. And you don't have to worry about how do they do it because they already know how they do it. You just have to go in and actually say, right, I'm going to put down and document like the way you do it. And they've probably got some documents and things like that already. And then, of course, when you're coming on this call, you can be saying, hey, who else already documents these things? We document all our stuff. We know for every event exactly how it works. We've got a process behind it. We know for our city leaders, we've now got over 70 city leaders around the world. We said, here's what a city leader does. Here's how much money they make. We can then package that. We can then multiply that. So the most important thing to go to green level is, what is your multiplier, right? What is your multiplier? Is your multiplier a particular individual because you've got like, you know, certification program and someone becomes a trainer? Is it a particular event? Is it a particular region where it's a series of events and individuals? But if you haven't decided what your multiplier is yet. So when Starbucks started, what happened was, and there's a really good book that you should read, which is called, and this is on Amazon, and this is by the founder, or really like the person who really launched and grew Starbucks, which is Howard Schultz. And he talks about how when he got the very first model, which was started up in Seattle, he then went and set up his second in Chicago, because you said Seattle's not a good enough example of a place I can repeat. But if I can set this up in Chicago and I can make it work, I can then grow it everywhere. And that's how we started up Starbucks. So in the same way, you want to say, right, I want to see how you're doing in these other countries. I'll choose a third country to start up in. I'll get a license going. And then once I've got that going, then I can grow this to other parts of the world. And that's always going to be the way to then go to green level, is through the multiplier, right? Create value first, then scale it. What is value times leverage? So you have to have the value first. And then what I would say, finally, I mentioned to Jason already, this whole thing about, and I think you got that as well, which is like just stepping into it, right? Just getting in there to make it happen. Robin, practical steps, the same steps. It's the same thing, which is actually just go back to infrared level and take that very first step to get into flow, right? And actually get tuned into wherever others are at as well. There's no other steps. Those are the only steps, but you're not taking them at the moment. So you're going to go back and take them again. And this all comes back down to you building your own confidence. And the best way for you to build your own confidence is to be around the people that already are out there taking action where you are supporting them. Yes, it's nice for you to go in and actually do some gardening for a school. But the question is, in that gardening, are you surrounded by people who are taking you to the next level? If not, you've got to go out there, get onto the crew of teams that are actually out there making a difference. Get out there and actually just get your confidence back by being around the right people. Because you're not going to get it by yourself, just being there, trying to figure it out for yourself as well, right? That's what I would say. And finally, on Jason, what I'd say is the best way to manage through promotions, 100%, is by making sure that the promotion has got the key 3 things that a promotion needs, which is, first of all, it needs to have the leader, it needs to have the rhythm, all right, and it needs to have the plan. Because if you have those 3, even if things are going tough, it's still going to roll. And like whatever happens, whatever issues people have, it's still going to keep on going and the promotion will run. Whereas if it's only you, that means that there isn't actually a leader in the team, there is no rhythm, then the whole thing just drops. And 2 weeks later, it's like, oops, it dropped. I've been to Burning Man, I've been out to China, I've been all over the place, and all of our promotions still are working because there's a flow to all of them and there's a rhythm to all of them as well, which is like super important. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and give everyone a chance to share whatever out of this call has been the biggest thing that's come out of for you. I'll go through in the same order. So I'll start with you, Jason.
Stop boiling the ocean.
Yes.
That's that. So when I actually gave up that I can help so many people in so many different ways, and actually just stuck to my focus of let me help. Look, I want to work with companies that are over 10 employees, so there actually is a team that I can actually be working with, and just work on how to develop that team with like the whole performance consultant aspect of things. That has been, I just stopped there, stop with everything else that I can do. That will show up later if it's needed.
Fantastic. Very, very cool.
That has like clearly gave me the confidence of keep moving forward.
Awesome. Brilliant. Fabulous. Very, very good. Okay, brilliant. And good luck over the next month. That's cool. Gabriel.
Make Julio responsible and become a leader of his own process. And just for me, it's my biggest takeout is do the promotion and actually make him be the leader of the process.
Totally, absolutely. And you know very quickly whether he's the right person or not when he does that, right? But just see that through, and then at least you then know that, and then like it's okay to have someone lead a promotion once and learn from it and realize they're not the right person or think not sure. After a second promotion, you know for sure they're either right or not, and then you can move on from there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Marie.
Thank you so much. I feel like I have a plan for the next month. I really appreciate that. I do want to say, I also want to thank you. You mentioned about course correction when I first invested in EI. And so thank you for, in fact, I asked you when I was investing, when you said, I said, well, what about a course correction? What's going to happen there? And you said that this is where entrepreneurs do their best work, is when there's course corrections. So I really appreciate you yet saying it again. You're reminding us again, the wave is coming. And so, and yet this is also where we do our best work. So
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's where all the opportunity is, right? Every big crisis is the biggest opportunity for 100%. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Marie. Let's come over to Julianne.
On a personal note, validation that I haven't been in the market for a year, so I'm staying that way. So thank you. Those articles are great. I'm going to send them to a whole bunch of people. And then the 3 types of partnerships, looking and reviewing those. Thank you very much for those.
Fabulous. Robin.
Yeah, Roger, thank you. All points taken. I will set up a plan. Actually, I did it at iLab, but I need to change it. The fast track for Singapore, is it decided, or is there any decision on that?
That's not how it works, Robin. When someone steps up and says, right, I'm ready to do it, and I'm going to commit to it, that's when we can go, okay, we put the effort behind that, but we're not deciding to just do it on our own without actually having someone that wants to lead it.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's in your hands, right? If you decide to do that, we know we can build it up. We know we can make it successful, but we always want to have a lead behind it. Yeah.
So I need to contact Jess on that, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And by the way, that's something for everyone as well. We never start a new promotion without having a leader behind it, right? Because otherwise it'll be like what Jason's doing. He's like, you've got 3 promotions he's running on his own, right? But he's like, right, I'll do it. But only when the leader shows up. Then the universe has a way of making the leader either show up, or it makes you have a way of slowing down by not trying to take on too much, by trying to start something when you're not yet ready to lead it. Okay, great. Let's come over to Renske next.
Yeah, sorry, I had to step out because I had to pack because I'm leaving in a few minutes. So I'm going to re-listen to the whole session after. So at this moment, no takeout, sorry.
No problem. All right.
So I'll be back.
Good luck on your travels. Okay, great.
Thanks.
Okay, Danette.
Oh, well, it might be what Marie said about the wave is coming and that's our greatest opportunity. So that was helpful. Thank you. I think what hit me was, you know, if I am taking on this work that just increased due to my savvy conversation, I actually might need a team because I can't do it all myself. So like in my mind, I can't work the next promotion if I'm just working full time or all the time. So I kind of had that aha moment of I might need a team, and to reach out to Jess and do the EFT. So.
Yeah, it's the perfect time if you were to actually speak to some of the people in your network, or just get the word out there that your business is growing, that you're at a point right now where you need someone to actually help be there, you know, help you to execute, like, you know, lead a campaign. It could be running this awesome event coming up. You know, you will find there's someone close to you who will step up and go, I can do that for you, right? And then of course that then gives you that ability to then have someone actually hold you accountable as well, as you then have the extra firepower to then move forward, right? And back to the whole thing about visionary and integrator, stands for you as well in terms of actually building that team now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Jason Kenneth. You're on mute still, Jason.
For me, just a synthesis of a couple ideas. That last point you made about the promotion, having multiple promotions, I need an operating team, at least a minimal operating team. I got people who help me, but I need something more stable to create the rhythm to stay in my flow. And I will, from this call, just take the thing that I'm already in flow doing, which is this sort of bio work. I'm going to find the people out there who need this, who also know how to run promotions and lead promotions. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to seek out someone to actually be my leader in exchange for what I'm already doing. So that's my first step. Yep.
That's fantastic. Very, very cool. Awesome. Yep. All right. And Mary and David, welcome to your first call. I'd love to hear what has been biggest takeaway for you.
Well, I think basically we've got to get our company future vision down, thought of. So our 5 years and 1 year. From that, get a mission statement happening or a document. So we're really clear on that, and clear roles for David and me in moving forward.
Awesome. So fabulous. Awesome. Very good. Looking forward to our call together as well.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Right. Cool. Yawen?
Yeah, I think that I would start to get an appointment to talk to the teachers to learn about their model. Because I know the manufacturing model and how manufacturing works as
exactly
factory, but I don't know how this event work. So that's my, I need to talk to them, just like visit factory too. So I will put out 3-month plan after talking to them.
Fabulous. Very cool. We have a way, just so you all know, of actually really understanding and embracing any top model, which is we'll go find the top person in the world and we'll take them on board for 3 months and we'll learn everything we can learn from them. We did that for YouTube. We did it for Facebook. We did that for events. Like anything that we do, like we did it for resorts, anything we do, we'll start by saying, we'll go straight to the person who's doing this really well. We're going to learn from them. And it doesn't take more than 3 months to really learn how a model works, right? If you're actually looking for the right thing. So for everyone that just always know that, whatever you don't know, there's a way of knowing. But the easiest way of knowing is just go connect to the person already doing it and then learn what they're doing, right? And then how that you can then apply that in what you want to do as well. Okay, and coming over to Daniel, like I mentioned, we're going to be moving you to the Emerald call, but I'd love to hear whatever distinction came up for you on this call. And Daniel, you got the unmute button there?
Oh, there it goes. I had a hard time getting it off. Culture, capacity, capability, needing a clear plan, and everyone can be capable at some level, and the visionary and integrated.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Very succinct. And for everyone on the call, on the coming month, yes, we have a lot of interesting things we're going to be experimenting with as well. On the event side, we've seen like a lot of evolution on events where people are going for much more quality than quantity, which means events, you don't get as many people coming to them, but you get actually the right people showing up, provided you've got a very specific niche thing you're actually offering to them. It's not too general. So we're seeing that happening all around the world right now, which is really interesting. This always happens, expansion and contraction. And I just want to finish on one final thing, which is anticipation. So I was talking about anticipation. Tony Robbins actually does a really great talk where he goes through this whole recording thing about we're going out and looking at the top people in the world and finding out, what was their key to success. And all of them, same thing. They'll say, number one is gratitude. And gratitude is being in the moment of what already you've got that you should be grateful for. And secondly is anticipation, which is what's the very next thing that's about to happen. And if you take flow, it's linked to anticipation, because if you look at, for example, football, right? If you're playing the game of football, if you're anticipating, you're always going to where the ball's about to be, right? So anticipation, just being at that next step. Buckminster Fuller calls this lag. So lag is like the time between manifesting something or sensing something and actually for it actually coming true or showing up. And so anticipation is something that you can actually, dance with the universe to create in the first place. And the more you're in flow, the shorter your lag time becomes. So the moment you're saying, okay, this is what I'm needing next, it just shows up. Whereas the more you're out of flow, the universe has a way of actually saying, well, we'll give you a clue you're out of flow. It'll take you forever to actually manifest anything. So you know that you're actually in the wrong path. So it's not about how do I just get the stuff I want. It's about how do I align myself with who I'm meant to be in such a way that the right things show at the right time. And to realize that the dance is between the flow that's getting created around you through your intentions with the flow that takes place in the universe anyway. You might not have an intention for a big storm coming your way, but the storm might come anyway, right? You have not the right intention for that. There's a big market crash, but the crash comes anyway. So it's about how do you actually ensure that your intention is like your surfboard. If you have the surfboard, and then you've actually got like the waves around you and you've got the sensory capacity to see those waves coming, then anticipation is just using that surfboard and then surfing the wave, right? That's what anticipation is all about. So keep that in mind as you go forward, as you're with your clients, as you're actually out there with your team and anticipating what it is they would want to have in their life to make their life better. And then you fill that gap. And provided you're always filling that gap of anticipation for people, you're always going to be in a place where you're in the center of wealth, right? So that is my final sharing for everyone. I want to say thank you very much for Darius for being up in the middle of the night for this call. Really great to catch up, everyone. Big shout out to everyone that's taken so much action since the last call. I think that's really awesome. And we'll catch up with you all on the next call, guys. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.